right, guys, it's Cleveland Moto Podcast 402. And we did name the Kromke Basement episode 401.
Oh, really?
Because I listened to it, and it is a podcast.
Yeah, there was puke.
It's not a... It does not constitute a 0.5. Okay. It is a real podcast. In fact, I can think of 90% of the podcasts in the world would be happy to have that as their podcast. That shit was entertaining as hell. You listened to it today, right?
Yeah. I loved Johnny Mac just beating the shit out of fucking Nick. That was fun.
Look, because so many of the listeners of this podcast listen to this podcast to hear it go off the rails.
Oh, yeah.
And we really haven't done that enough lately.
But you know what, though?
Yeah.
I think what saved it, though, we were like, I think it was mediocre. And then, seriously, I think we were doing okay. But then we called you.
You called me on a boat.
Yeah, and you were on a boat.
Yeah.
And then that didn't, I don't, to me, that was inspiring because, like, it was fun. It was fun to hear what you were saying.
You called me, and I was on a really fast boat.
Yeah. Well, that's what we didn't think you were going to call back. We didn't think you were going to call in because when Nick texted you, you texted back a boat with all three hairs blowing back.
We were going fast. Look, we were in Hawaii. That is where male pattern baldness is a sign of sex, right? Hawaii is one of those strange places.
You dick.
Hey. It's fucking hit me with a fucking low blow.
It was pretty low.
He's like fat, can't go there. White, can't go there. Fucked up facial hair, can't go there.
How quick did that sneak
Glasses,
out,
can't go there.
Quick wit.
Bitch got no hair.
Wait,
what else am I going to make fun of?
Is the podcast start yet?
Yeah.
Do we start?
Hit it.
Oh,
you missed
there
your
you
cue.
Oh,
bad out.
fucking IPA.
You know what's funny? Is in Hawaii, I got a full head of hair.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. In Hawaii, I was the hippie.
Well, not only that, but like what actor that's popular doesn't have a bit of a widow's peak? You know what I mean?
We are starting to appreciate older gentlemen in this country.
Nick
right?
Cage?
Yeah. Right. The whole thing,
that's the look.
The whole concept of dad bod.
Bruce Willis before he became...
Thank God.
That's
Bruce
not
Willis
really
like
a real thing.
I know.
No girl is really attractive.
I agree with that statement.
No, I've seen it. I've seen it. Video. It's on. It's
Nobody's
website. Porn something.
Yeah,
hub.
that's
okay.
Yeah, you saw it on TikTok.
yeah. I've seen. I had to start. I had to like get rid of all those.
I love your dad.
All those Instagrams are like,
there is
my daddy.
Nobody. There is no woman out there rubbing herself off to a picture of Bill Murray. No how, nowhere.
Nope.
Or Chevy Chase over the age of 50.
Guarantee you, there's one girl.
No,
there's one girl. There's one shoe for every foot.
You know why?
Chevy
And you know what?
Chasers.
You're right. No, you're right. There is that one girl.
Yeah.
The one he's writing the checks to. Whoever benefits from the blast radius of Bill Murray's wallet.
Yeah.
They're right. They're loving that.
If there's a girl who's into dad bod, it's not the dad bod you're thinking of. It's the like some
Also
really
true.
fit dad who's wearing like trousers and slacks.
Yeah, you know that guy who's got a six-pack and a kid under each arm?
Yeah.
That mythical creature?
The only person that's got a chance at this table is Oscar.
That's true. Yeah.
You know what? They don't call him a romantic Hispanic for nothing.
Oscar and I have a very good friend who is a weird, strange fucking creature of nature. His name is Scotty.
Oh,
And,
shit, yeah.
Like, Scotty had babies, Scotty had kids, and got more fit.
Yes,
Like,
he did.
Scotty went from being like, you never wanted to take shirts off next to Scotty.
No.
Because he's tall, he's handsome, right. But then he had kids.
Now he's jacked.
And
he's taller.
He's
taller.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I got a regimen. I got a 10-minute a day workout regimen, and like right in the middle of a conversation, he'll just start doing like mountain climbers.
Yep.
Right. You know, he's like, oh yeah, my watch beat.
Rally,
yeah.
and he was fucking pulling this shit. We're all like drinking, smoking, doing weird shit. And it was like, his phone started ringing. It was like, oh shit, I got to do my exercises. Just start dropping, doing 20. It was like,
and he's like, my body's a temple, and we're like, our bodies are ashtrays. Like, come on, man, what the fuck?
My body's a grease pig.
Why are you gonna bring us down like that? My body's a Waffle House. You know? And he did. And he
Waffle
did that.
House,
He did
the
it.
employees are tough.
They're tough. Yeah, don't ever pick a
Hey,
fight
do you
with
know
a
what I
Waffle
just heard recently?
What'd you hear?
What's the difference between Denny's and Waffle House?
House. Ooh,
oh shit.
I'm dying to know.
Denny's is for hungry people that can't fight.
Hey, man. Mad respect to anybody who works the midnight shift at any truck stop
Right.
anywhere in the world.
Shit,
I don't care. I've gone into places where it's been 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. Oscar and I went into a truck stop place, and I can't remember if it was Arizona or where the hell we were on that trip. That was a combination truck stop, gun store, fireworks shop, and restaurant.
Where were we going?
With dinosaurs outside.
We went on our way back to from Denver.
I think it was Denver. Yeah, I think it was back
one like
Denver.
that out towards Pennsylvania. Too.
Yeah, we hit this thing in Nebraska or somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And we went into that place, and it was one of those places where you're like, you know that the 53-year-old woman behind the bar with the kid on her knee, right, and somebody else's kid she's babysitting while she's on the clock at Stuckey's, right? You know she can take you.
Oh yeah.
She's been dealing with angry truck drivers who are on, black beauties all night long, her whole life.
Well, if you're the person who works at the receptacle of after the bar lets out, you know they've just seen it all.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's 100 absolute fucking %. So we've had some stuff happen, obviously. So there's been things. I'm not going to bore everyone with the trip to Hawaii. I'm not going to make you watch the film strips or the fucking,
Don't you have one of those things?
Timeshare?
The Viewmaster?
Yeah, the Viewmaster.
Look at it in 3D.
Yeah.
Why don't you do like a best and a worst? Like
That's exactly right. We'll do the best and the worst.
10 reasons. Top 10. Did me to it, motherfucker.
Top 10 reasons to ride a motorcycle in Hawaii.
Top 10.
Well, first we're gonna pick 30.
Yeah.
And then we'll break it down.
And then we're going to narrow it down.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Nope. We're not going to do
Everybody come up with 10.
Right.
And then we'll sort out the 10.
All right.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'm going to say, just so people can get it, so we understand. Because my wife works in the public school system, we can only travel during the Christmas break. Okay. I'm saying that for people who actually do travel and understand the way travel works, who are sitting there yelling at their radios going, why would you stupid motherfucking people go to Hawaii around Christmas?
Why wouldn't you?
Well, because it's crowded and everybody wants to go. And that's when all the kids have off. And if you're looking to take a 2-week or 1-week vacation with your family, where are you going to go? You want to have that big mega trip. You want to go to Hawaii. You go during Christmas break because you got that, 12 or 14 days off in a row. So going to Hawaii at Christmas is its own fucking challenge. I mean, just like booking, like find a place to stay, find a place to sleep. The $400 hotel room is now a $1,600 hotel room.
Wow.
I'm not making that up. Yeah. The $100 hotel room is gone. There is no such thing, period. So you got to plan.
Weekdays, right? I mean, like
you have the beach, though.
No weekdays. There's
just
no
be homeless
that whole time.
They have a rule for that.
During holidays, no homelessness.
No. Okay. All right. How white are you, Steve? You're pretty fucking white.
I'm a Native American.
You're a native Lebanesian. So
Middle Eastern.
Well, there you go. Ride that. But here's the rule. You can't.
That's what I hear every time you talk.
Wow.
Like that shit's on fire today. Like that puppet movie. What's that puppet movie?
See what happens when
we know you're talking
my hand
about.
up your ass.
We know you're talking about. If you say Jeff Dunham, we're shutting this thing down. All right, so he's got enough pull. We don't need to help him.
Wait, so is he the one that did that movie?
On a stick. Right.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, so here we go.
No, don't do that.
That technology came from England, though.
Okay, so
back to what you were saying, Phil.
Anyway, back to the story. Here's the thing about Hawaii. Hawaii is their chief export is not pineapples.
Coffee.
It's tourism.
Tourism.
Oh, yeah.
It's the tourists going home.
Yeah, get rid of them.
Minus the money that was in their wallet.
Kaboom.
The only thing more effective at relieving you from your money than Disney is Hawaii.
The island itself.
There's less child trafficking in Hawaii, though.
Okay.
Disney.
I'll take that. Yeah, interesting factoid.
When Steve was down there, he was in the bathroom, and some guy went over and said, "Sir, that is illegal." And Steve's like, "What are you talking about? I'm in the bathroom." He's like, "It is illegal to hold a small child's penis while peeing."
Damn.
Look,
Fucking roast fest.
Steve might not have 12 inches, but it smells like a foot.
Wow.
You're going to smell like a foot tomorrow when you're scrubbing the well with a toothbrush.
in 1959, the United States of America, bought two things that were important. They bought Alaska, they bought Hawaii. Why they didn't buy Puerto Rico is beyond me. I have no idea other than I'm going to get schooled on it by bringing that up. Okay, fair enough. What we bought Alaska for obvious fucking reasons. It was
They should have bought Mexico.
I beat me to it. I was like, you didn't go back enough to talk about buying Mexico, but okay.
Oscar and I have been friends for a long time, and I think we should give Mexico back.
No, keep Texas. Fuck Texas. No. We're not taking that shit back. No.
Right.
But I digress.
I think it wouldn't be. I feel bad about what happened to the original Americans.
Yeah. OG.
I still do feel bad about the OG, and I do feel like they got a raw fucking deal. And fair enough. And we could change the state. We could, we don't have to have a New Mexico, right?
No, Texas would be like...
Yeah, exactly. I don't have any problem with that, right? But this is the crazy thing about Hawaii, because in every other place you've ever gone where there's been like, take the sugarcane tour of our place, whether it was St. Croix or St. John's or St. Thomas or U.S. Virgin Islands or the Dutch East Indies or wherever the fuck you like to travel. And they're always like, look at our rich culture of making sugarcane. Yeah. That was part of the English Empire and the East India Trading Company in a phrase that lives in infamy called, where there's a whip, there's a way. Right? Okay, right? Yeah. Right. That's it.
That's what she said.
You can work for me or run from me. It's going to be this or that.
Wow.
Okay, and think about any place that you've ever they've always been, slavery is always a big, dirty, nasty part of their history. Hawaii's
or just a shade below,
right, exactly.
You're not quite a slave, but
don't
mostly
scratch the surface too hard.
Indentured servant. Come to mind.
Yeah. You've worked for 14 hours today. Yeah. Here's your shiny pebble, right? Yeah. Or here's food.
Or even the miners. Like, well, here's a token to our store.
Oh, yeah.
But Hawaii's got a weird history.
Or pay your mortgage.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We're all wage slaves right now. Yeah. I mean, if you have a mortgage,
hey, did you remember when I said whip?
Yeah.
Okay. You haven't tasted the whip in a long time, right?
Well,
so John might have.
When he pays
I
for
think
it.
John may have tasted the whip once or twice, but the point with Hawaii is very funny. No. They count their calendar as pre-contact and post-contact.
Wow, really? Seriously?
And the contact they're talking about is not aliens.
No.
It's not on the...
Tell me on the doll where they touched you.
Sounds like they weren't whipped enough.
No, the contact... Yeah, the contact...
Like Peter from
yes, Mr. Hofford.
Guy together when you laughed.
Peter.
But they talk about contact is when Captain Cook was trying to find the Northern Passage and kept taking stabs with his boat at Alaska and not winning. So he kept stabbing Alaska with his boat and not doing great. And he'd turn around and go 2,300 miles backwards and go back to Hawaii where there was fruit and food and people to trade with. The Hawaiians hadn't... It's not like the Hawaiians hadn't seen white people before. People with boats had been showing up doing commerce for a while. Right. They themselves were world travelers. Polynesians got to Hawaii. They didn't teleport. Boats. Navigation that we didn't understand yet.
They weren't spit up by a whale.
They weren't spit up by a whale or a volcano. So here's the trick. Captain Cook was a popular fella, and the Hawaiians gave him the same treatment Hawaiians have historically given everybody, which is like, welcome. Yeah. I will give you food.
Mahalo or whatever. Right?
Well, mahalo's thank you. Yeah,
this is kind of
aloha. Right?
This is kind of on this subject, but not.
Okay.
Do you think the Gorillaz song, that one Gorillaz song about the happy people, and then the people came in and then started taking all the resources and then destroyed everything?
Yeah, that's colonialism.
But the volcano had its way and whatever. Does that sound like? Could that have been written about?
Yeah, the Captain Cook deal was very simple. So. Hawaiians are generally pretty nice to everybody.
Sure.
They got their thing going on. And he showed up and he mistook that. Now, I like to tell people, I have a little story. I said, you have a dog. The dog says, you feed me, you pet me, you pick up my shit, you are clearly a god. Right?
Oh, you pick up my snack.
Okay, but a cat looks at you and says, you feed me, you pet me, you pick up my shit, I'm a god.
Right.
True.
Well, Captain Cook was a cat. Okay? He was on the wrong side of the equation because he thought having gunpowder and lead that he had an upper hand. And it turns out that one dog is not more powerful than a whole bunch of little dogs. And
One cat.
he came back to the island in having thought what he had achieved God status. And he went back there and expected everybody to take a knee. And one of the locals stole a boat. And then instead of going, one of the locals went out and stole one of his longboats, you know, one of his shuttlecraft, basically. And instead of going back in and going, instead of going back in and saying, oh, well, you know, you stole one of our boats, so we're gonna, you know, punish you some way. We're gonna steal one of your boats or whatever. He decided to go in and literally take the goddamn emperor of Hawaii. Wow. He decided to kidnap their number one guy, right? And the Hawaiians weren't cool with that. And they were, you've gone too far.
Yeah.
That's
And so
asymmetrical show of force.
Asymmetrical show of force. That's exactly right. And that's what it was. It's taking a gun to a knife fight. Yeah. And he said, I'm going to show them. Instead of just taking a little punishment, I'm going to take their main guy. I'm going to kidnap their main guy. And the Hawaiians caught him on the beach. Didn't go so well for him. There's a little shitty beach named after him where they just let his body rot.
Really?
They didn't even bury him.
Is this all stuff that you learned?
That's a good. That's a game you don't play with muskets.
Thank you. That's exactly right. What's your rate of fire in a musket? Apparently,
1 second.
Hold on. Wait, there's 5,000 locals with spears and machetes, and I got a musket?
Yeah.
No. Ask Bill Cody how that worked out. Mm-hmm. All right, so this game that was played, that's the point of contact. So everything that happened after that is Hawaiian new history, right? And everything. And so when you go there, it's kind of fun. So you get to learn about that a little bit, check it out. But Hawaiians never bent the knee.
Good for them.
So, yeah. So all these different companies that came into Hawaii and said, yeah, we're Dole. You know Dole?
Oh, yeah.
We're Dole. We're going to create a republic. And the United States is going to trade with us. And all we got to do is whip these fucking Hawaiians into shape. And the Hawaiians went, we don't work for you. So they brought in Chinese.
Wow, really?
And they brought in Japanese. Wow. And they brought in islanders of various different flavors. But the Hawaiians...
Like cats and dogs living together?
Well, but the Hawaiians never bent the knee. And that was the thing. Them. And so that was one of those interesting things about Hawaii. It didn't even work out as a republic. Of a republic being a Trump-style republic under the umbrella of the Dole Corporation. Mm-hmm. Right? And... that's a very interesting thing about Hawaii, sort of saying, oh, we're still going to be here. Mm-hmm. And there's 96 ways we can fuck you up. And I think that that's really funny because on all the islands of Hawaii, I've been to Australia, a little tiny bug this big can kill you.
Mm-hmm. Seriously?
Yeah. Well, Australia, everything in Australia can kill you. You can take a shit and die, right? Yeah. It's Australia. Look at that bird. I'm going to pet it. Fucking dead, right?
Well, and they don't tell you how many people people go to Australia thinking they can walk up to a kangaroo and be like, "Oh, hey, cute little buddy," and they get fucked.
Get its ears boxed.
Yeah.
Have you seen the claws on a fucking
they
kangaroo?
will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Everything in Australia can kill you.
Yep.
Want to hear something crazy about Australia? I mean, Hawaii? 2 weeks, not a single mosquito bite.
Huh.
Really?
It's because the air is moving.
Whatever, but yeah, that's weird.
I'm out hiking with a guy. We're going to look at a waterfall and whatever. He's like, nothing can kill you. You can let your kids go out and play in the jungle. There's nothing here that can kill you.
Huh.
Except the caldera.
Yeah, you fall into a volcano. You're fucked, right? Yeah. The sulfur gas will get you long before you get to the lava.
Maybe just
Trust
like
me.
nothing and
I tried.
can sneak up on you.
You tried.
Because on volcanoes, not sneaking up on you.
And even when there's like the latest eruption, they're like, it's celebrating. Pele's coming back from her grave. Make ready for Pele. She's coming back. And everyone's like, yeah. And people are like, aren't you freaking out? There's not that Pele.
I'm shaving.
Different Pele.
Everybody's shaving. I'm making ready for Pele.
They're cleaning up, getting rid of all the shit.
Well, I heard that the Americans fucked it all up because that's the whole thing is the island prepares the island for the coming of their God.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Americans go there and just throw shit all over the place.
Well,
like, oh, we're at vacation.
And they got curses for that.
Oh.
You ever watch the Brady's? All right. So, 30,000 pounds of lava get returned to Hawaii's postal system every year from people who borrowed a little bit of the island and took it home and then had really bad luck and said, you know what? I think this might be the curse. And they mail the shit back to the Hawaiian post office. Look it up. It's not some shit I made up. Wow. And they have to reincorporate 30,000 pounds of lava back into their island every year from dumb fucking haole tourists that are like, I'm going to take my grandmother a big black piece of lava. Yeah. And then they get like, their luck turns shitty anyway.
I would love to take my grandma a big black piece of lava.
You throw her in the volcano, you sick mother.
But anyway, just for fun, I do think that Hawaii is an extremely fun. Mara and I a couple of years ago decided we didn't want to go travel anywhere the food was worse than it was in Cleveland. Think about that.
That's fair.
Food in Cleveland is pretty good
here, you know?
Well, yeah. All right. You getting me? You picking up what I'm laying down?
Yeah.
So that eliminates a lot of the planet.
I'm smelling what you're stepping in.
So the places we're going to travel are all places that have food that's better than Cleveland. And it turns out Hawaii's pretty good.
I think that vacation you took to, was it Quebec?
I did.
It looked really cool.
It was really cool.
I went there on my honeymoon.
That seemed like a really cool vacation.
Montreal, Quebec, all that stuff. It's all practice Europe.
If you want to go somewhere where most people do not speak English,
right?
Quebec is awesome, man. It makes you feel like you're
Tabernacle.
Yeah. And then, I think I said this before, but we just by happenstance, our honeymoon happened to be like the bicentennial of the fucking like 150 maybe years or something of this waterfall.
The sesquicentennial.
Yeah. And so there were just shows and shit. It was fucking amazing, man. It was really cool.
From a degenerate motorcyclist, a person that cannot start or end a conversation without inserting motorcycles into it, Hawaii is a very strange place. You guys know when we were in the Virgin Islands, seeing another motorcycle on the road was like, whoa, wow, check it out. How do you make that work? Because the roads there are fucking terrifying. Well, the roads in Hawaii are really good except for one, and I'll tell you about that one later. But the roads in Hawaii are pretty fucking amazing because tourism, did I mention tourism? Yeah. Money. So it turns out they have a bit of it. And it turns out that they've tricked white people into buying like timeshares. Go figure that out. Anyhow, we're hauling ass around the island all the time. And like the first week we had a Honda Element, so I was in my element and couldn't be happier if there were two of me. I was thrilled. But you put me in a Honda Element anywhere and I'm a happy camper. And we were going down all the roads that take you down to the surfer spots nobody's supposed to know about. And Merritt's like, you are not going down that road. And I'm like, not only is it a rental car, but it is a Honda Element.
You're like, hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
Which probably was absolutely true.
Right. Yeah. I said, woman. She goes, this is only two-wheel drive. And I said, it's Honda Element two-wheel drive. Right. And we did. We went down this place, and it was a monsoon situation. It was great. Had a great time. And she's like, but we have to go back up. And I'm like, going up is easier than going down. So she didn't know. But going up is less scary than going down.
Was it sand or something? Or
no, it was red mud that comes down from the mountains.
Okay.
So yeah, basically,
we're stuck. Okay, somebody comes and pulls us out.
Exactly.
Oh,
right.
geez,
Yeah,
it's
right.
not like you have a beach to lay on it.
Exactly. 18 cocktails in the back of the thing, right?
Right.
I got my fins. I got my snorkel.
Oh no!
I'm now 500 feet closer to the kick-ass beach.
If you would have got stuck on Christmas Day, we were going to visit my fucking mom. Yeah. And this truck was like coming up on my ass so hard that I was like, fuck, I better move over. I happened to be on a road in Medina that had no shoulder, just a 3-foot fucking ditch.
Oh, shit.
So it was like, and we dumped in the ditch. And so I look at my wife and I'm like, well, we live here now.
Yeah.
And then this car goes by and I'm like, fuck. So I get out.
Were you in your big Dodge truck or you in a normal thing?
It was the truck that he pulled over to let go by him.
Yeah. So I was trying to be nice to let this fucking truck go by. Yeah. But anyways, to your point, so like you would have been stuck in heaven. I'm like, fuck. So finally, the guy felt bad. He turned around.
He did.
He came back and he goes, all I got is a chain. I'm like, dude, I don't care if you pull the hitch.
I don't
off
care
my
if you
car.
have 2 rolls of dental floss. We're getting this thing out.
Yeah, and so he fucking floored it, and I floored it, and whoever's front yard that is, I apologize.
You now have a new feature.
Yeah, but my car was fine, and it made. So, anyways, I didn't want to distract.
It's okay.
But 100% 180. So you'd be laying on the beach going, "Fuck, we're stuck."
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, "We're going to." It was the day it was -7.
Oh yeah.
With wind that was -35.
It was 79 there. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a dick.
What a dick. But that's the point I wanted to bring up. There's surprisingly less motorcycles. So we did this particular trip. We did Maui.
Yeah.
And then we did Kauai. Kauai's the Garden Island. You know, that's where they filmed Jurassic Park and everything else. If you go there, they'll tell you that 10,000 times.
The mother island is what?
Hawaii.
Oh, just Hawaii.
It's the big island. Yeah, the big island. Yeah.
Oh, I thought Hawaii was the whole.
No, Hawaii is all of it, but then there's one. The big island of all of them is called Hawaii.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought the same thing. There was the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. So there are 8 islands that are commonly referred to, and of those 8 islands, there are 5 majors, 3 minors, and there's one that is kind of forbidden, right? That's you're not supposed to go there, right? And
is it sacred or something? Or?
It's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of it's a nature preserve. It's a little bit of.
Meanwhile, the locals know it's just a place that guys can go and jerk off.
Well, the trafficking goes.
Nobody cares. Yeah,
we don't go to that island.
Right, and nobody cares. Yeah. And that is so fucking
where there's
true.
no judgment. You can put it in any hole you want.
Nobody cares.
No, you don't go there.
Right. Yeah, and so this idea behind there being
what's brown and sticky? I'm sorry, I had to say it. It was a little. It's a cheap shot.
It's a cheap shot, but it's pretty good. Yeah. So the idea is that the people that live on Hawaii or in Hawaii, they live in these 8 islands. And what's really funny is that the county, I think it's the county of Maui, actually is 3 islands.
Say it again.
The county of Maui.
Oh, Maui.
The Maui, Maui, you smoke weed.
On the county mountain. What is
you could be a county mountie in Maui?
Yes.
Do you think you could do that?
No.
Okay.
What's the forbidden island?
So,
which one is it on the
Nihao? So I'll pull it up so our friends can see it at home. We'll yoink this up on the map.
So the big one to the bottom of that
I did
map.
not think this was going to turn into a geography lesson.
No, but this is really fucking
I'm
interesting.
curious. I mean, I like that stuff. So
yeah, this is cool.
All right, cool. So I'll do my best. So the very most southern of them is the island of Hawaii. That's the big island.
Don't have a lot of motorcycles. Just
where-
keep it motorcycle.
Yeah, well, it's true.
Yeah.
So I will point on this island where the doll touches me. So this part of the island up here, okay, if you're looking at the island of Hawaii, I'm pointing at the area called Hilo. And Hilo is a part of the island, northeastern part of the island, that is on the windward side. So all the wind comes into this part of the island. Consequently, they get like 300 inches of rain every year.
Wow.
It's one of the rainiest places on the planet. Now, over here is a part of the island called Kona, and that is on the leeward side of the island. And
That's
Kona,
the coffee
from
place.
coffee and everything else, and Kona Brewing Company,
And
right?
the SUV that Hyundai has.
Yeah, that Hyundai has, right? And there's a lot of really fun touristy things in the Kona area.
Yeah.
So that's the island of Hawaii, right? And so you see right here, this is Maui Island. That's the next one up. So there's Maui Island and Maui Island. So where we were living on Maui Island is on, they call West Maui, but it's northwest part. And from where we were living, we could look out our balcony, they have the term, which I think this is hilarious. They call a patio a lanai. So if you've ever had a Hawaiian restaurant, would you like to eat on the lanai?
Yeah,
that means patio, okay? Yeah. Well, what's hilarious is from our lanai, we could see
the kidney.
lanai.
Oh, I thought that was the kidney.
No, we could see lanai. So we could see lanai from our lanai. No. And Molokai, which is the other island. So Molokai is inhabited. Lanai is, you can travel there. You can go there. And so these 2 islands are very, very close to Maui. But Kahului, right? That
little one?
That little one on the bottom.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of a nature preserve. Okay. Now you go up to Oahu. Now, Oahu is the one that you've heard about. If you listen to Richard Cheese, Oahu is where Waikiki is. Oahu is Honolulu. Okay. Oahu is Pearl Harbor. Gotcha. If you fly into Hawaii, you are probably flying into Oahu. And then you'll get on another plane or boat to go to the other islands. Gotcha. Okay? But Oahu, for being 1/4 the size of the big island, Hawaii, Oahu is kind of the cultural, or I should say financial or corporate spendy. If you want to go to a Ferrari dealer, there isn't one on Maui.
Gotcha.
But there is one on Oahu.
Now, do people, this is dumb, since we are going down John, do people live on one island and work on another? Like, is it commutable? Or
well, it's not commutable because it's an airplane, right? Okay. So to do any of these, even Lanai, even going from Maui to Lanai, you'd still be further ahead to take an airplane than you would to take a boat. There's not a lot of ferry service that runs between those islands. And
what's the distance between those two?
They're not that bad. So it's about 30 miles.
Oh, 30 miles?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What? Between that right there and there?
So right there and there. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see a little scale for 100 miles.
Oh, geez.
So that's 100 miles. So that's about 20 probably from Maui to Lanai.
So Hawaii is like 130 miles long?
It's about 160 miles across. So about 160 miles across and about 220 miles tall. Hawaii,
so it's big.
The big island. Oh, yeah, the big island's big.
I mean, all those islands are pretty big then.
Oh, I've driven from Kona to Hilo, and that's a motherfucker.
I had no idea that it was that big.
And there's a mountain in between. There's
I
two
should
volcanoes.
know more about the United States.
Yeah. Well, that's what we do. So Merritt and I we've traveled in Europe a little bit, and we thought, well, we had some ideas. I said, well, I feel like we haven't really explored all the United States yet. So we're kind of, this is, privileged white podcast. If you're sitting at home right now eating your government cheese in your fucking Section 8 house right now, I'm about to. Sorry, dude. Sorry. I'm going to throw you my very, my very Canadian sorry.
No, somebody just handed you your money, so you know.
Right. I didn't work for it or anything.
Yeah, call us on your Obama phone.
I've been overcharging my customers for 22 years. I'm in Hawaii, bitch.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, you're right. So yeah, so we were staying on Maui for a week, and then we went up to Kauai. Now you can see Kauai and Maui are about 900 miles apart. Right?
Wow.
It's not a short flight.
No, that's crazy.
Right. So
that's not a commuter.
Yeah.
It's like flying to New York, right? About.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's about 900 miles.
Yeah, it's 2.5 hour flight.
Yeah.
So when you're. And then Niihau Island, that little one up there, that's another one you don't go to, right? So on our first trip 4 or 5 years ago, we went to Oahu and we went to the Big Island. And now, if you have to know, there is a method to my madness. There is an artist by the name of Richard Cheese.
Oh, yeah.
He had a side project where he was calling himself Johnny Aloha.
Huh.
And he made an album called Lavapalooza. And Johnny Aloha's album, which is all just a project of Richard Cheese, who is in himself his real birth name isn't Richard Cheese. That's a character he has developed for his song parodies like Weird Al Yankovic, except Weird Al Yankovic's name really is Al Yankovic. Right. So the Johnny Aloha album that is Lavapalooza has a song called I'll Have to Drink to Hawaii. And it's basically, he lists about 16 cocktails and the towns he's going to drink them in. Oh. Because he's going to drink a chi-chi in Waikiki and a zombie in Kanapali. Right? And so I had this map in my head the first time I heard the song about reliving the song.
Do it.
And I made a map in my Google Maps that had each drink and the town or the city or the location it was represented. Yep.
How far along are you on this, son?
I have done it.
You've done the whole thing?
I've done the whole song.
Oh, that's why you were posting all the drinks.
Bingo.
Oh, fuck. Okay, now that makes sense.
So I have...
like, there were drinks in there that I was like, that doesn't seem like a Philly... I mean, I know we all like fruity drinks, but like... But I mean that green and chocolatey.
Oh, that was a
Easy,
grasshopper.
Skippy.
Yeah.
Anytime anybody will pour a grasshopper, I will drink a grasshopper.
I love grasshoppers.
True. Yeah, they're good.
They're
How
delicious.
can you not like a grasshopper?
but
they got
find a
right.
bartender that will pour you one.
Yeah, right.
Right?
I'm gonna
Do
find
they
one.
serve them at Porco?
Ooh, we can find out.
What the
Anyway,
hell is a grasshopper anyway?
it's just a cream de menthe cocktail.
Chocolate and mint.
chocolate and mint cocktail.
That's
yeah,
so
exactly.
good.
Yeah, but anyway, there's this
If you
song-
like thin mints,
Right. We may include the song. We may put the song in the podcast just so people can play along in the home version. But it's a song that basically lists off 16 or 17 different locations. And I decided I was going to complete the song and go to every city, town, or destination that it says in the song and consume the cocktail associated with the song, right? For
I've been everywhere, man.
well, you know-
Drink that
Thank you.
there, man.
Thank you.
Well,
Right.
since you brought that up, you know about the adventure, dude? This kid was 22 years old or something. He bought an NC 700, put a fucking 4x4 wooden box on the back of it,
What?
like just a giant fucking box. And then his favorite song growing up was "I've Been Everywhere" by Johnny Cash. So the day he got the motorcycle, he sat down and he was going to college for stats.
Did he really go to Diamantia?
Dude, hold on. But he's majoring in statistics or something. So he built a whole spreadsheet, did the mileage, the calculations, how much money he'd need, where he'd stay. He booked stuff, and then it was 2.5 years, and he documented the whole trip. And he went across and did all the locations that he could, that were, whatever, in Johnny Cash's song, all the way to down South America, all over the fucking place.
fantastic.
Yeah, it was really fucking cool.
There's no other way you can put it. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is awesome. And
Carson
so,
City, what a pity.
I think though, but like reading his blog, you probably had more fun in your pursuit.
well, it's just a different. Yeah, it's a different kind of thing. And this is a pretty good conquer. Like you have to conquer things as you see them. And so I brought the map up so you guys can appreciate it.
Oh, shit.
So there's a
Damn.
right. So I made a Google map. I can post it. We can post a link to it for the show notes.
If it was interactive, if we could just mouse over and it's a picture of you with the
right.
drink.
Can't you do
You
that?
could probably do
We could
that.
probably do that. So it's like the Malakini crater is this little tiny. This is one of the hardest ones. So Malakini crater is a crescent-shaped crater that's off the coast, halfway
that's
between
fucking
Lanai,
tiny.
right, half the way between Lanai and
Well,
Maui.
you run into the trouble. Maybe they don't actually serve that drink there. But
Maybe you're not allowed to walk on the crater. Maybe the closest you can get, all right,
is a boat off the shore.
is a boat on the shore, right? So there's the Malakini crater.
And look at all the boats.
And see the boats? So the Malakini crater is a crescent out in the middle of the area between Maui and Lanai. And there's balls underground that you can tie your anchor to because it's a coral reef out there. Everything's a nature preserve. You
That
can't
is
walk.
literally the top of a volcano.
It is the top of a volcano.
You're ready to be blown into fucking outer space when you're sitting there. Fuck
And yet
that.
I had to drink a lychee martini.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, right? So I had to drink a lychee martini. Oh, well, that was for my Malakini Wahine. So I had to drink a lychee martini for my Malakini Wahine. If you want to talk about a pointless, senseless, and absurd gesture,
How did you get your wife to tag along on this?
you've met my wife.
Yeah.
Game on, right?
I think once she's out of Cleveland.
Once she's out of Cleveland, it's game on. Right. Yeah. Getting her away from her job, that's one thing.
No paparazzi.
So exactly right here. You see where that spot is?
Yeah.
So that spot right there is we went on a snorkeling tour. And the joke is like, what's the snorkeling like anywhere on Maui? And you're like, oh, it's okay. So they have all the beaches listed. Snorkeling, okay, snorkeling, whatever. And where you go to rent snorkel gear and shit is a place called Boss Frogs. And they're a franchise. They're everywhere. But you go in there and it's like Malakini, perfect. Like the weather on Malakini is always perfect. Why do I bring that up? And that's important, and that is a thing that we needed to talk about in the podcast. Because, back to the podcast, back to being a motorcycle podcast, I would like to call your attention to a little thing called geography. Now, who here likes...
Did you rent a wet bike?
Oh, my. Did I rent a wet bike? Well, it turns out if you're on parts of the island, all bikes are wet bikes. Because... I'm going to put my mouse on a part of the island called Lahaina, or it's pronounced Lahaina, like vagina. And this is where I was on a very fast boat when y'all guys
I'll take
asked
a
me
look
to
at it.
participate. I'll take a look at it. Yeah. And so I was in Lahaina, and I'm in Lahaina when you guys are asking me to be a part of the podcast. And I was actually out here in the middle of the ocean
You were.
looking at whales, right? So I'm out here looking at whales.
Looking up some of the Lahaina.
Well, all this whole area, like this whole thing right here.
So
is
you're
where
saying the Lahaina got wet?
Lahaina is a very, very... Lahaina is kind of adjacent to a crevice. Yeah.
And it's always moist.
It's always moist. Right, exactly. Yeah, but it smells delightful. It always has that nice ocean smell to it, ocean
sea.
scent of the sea, right?
What's brown and sticky?
Kelp and seaweed.
How many times can we bring that up in one podcast?
I know.
We're to set a record.
I'm a number 2.
Okay. So
If you want to hear the sea, you look one way. If you want to smell the sea, you look the other way.
Wow. Okay.
hey, once you get it past the smell,
Yeah, got a leg.
Got a leg.
we completed the trifecta. We are now officially the Cleveland Moto podcast. Take that. All right.
And we're not even drinking.
All right. So this part of the island,
Everybody else is.
I'm drinking. Okay. So this part of the island right here, that part of the island gets 12 inches. Okay. That part of the island gets 12 inches of rain every year.
Right.
Every year. That's like Vegas.
Yeah.
Not much.
That's nothing.
Okay.
That's a sneeze like every other day. Like,
Okay. That part of the island, the part I'm pointing at now,
yeah.
400 inches.
Now, do they pump like to the top of the island to like provide
So
water?
it's a
for
very
the
wet
island?
Lahaina.
So what happens is you got air that's been traveling across the ocean. And the air gets heavier and heavier and heavier. It's growing across the ocean. And it eventually gets to a mountain that's tall enough.
Yeah.
The mountain goes, fuck you, air. And the air goes, I got to go up this mountain. Whoosh. And the
Ergo.
air go. And so the air climbs up the mountain and goes, I'm too heavy to go up this mountain. I need to dump all this water somewhere.
Yeah.
And it turns out there are parts of Hawaii that get more rain than anywhere else on planet Earth, including Vietnam and India, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they will get 400 to 600 inches of water per year.
Does that generate different vegetation?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
And so if you look at these pictures, you're going to see that this part is very brown, right? And this part is the opposite of brown, right? So this part is a rainforest, a massive goddamn mountainous rainforest where all the delicious coffee beans and everything grow.
So
right?
you're saying the brown part is behind the Lahaina.
That's exactly it. Right. The brown, if you're down to
Very
get,
close.
Right. If you're
And wet.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're on the ground to get down, look for the brown. It's around the back. Right. And so for real,
behind Lahaina.
if you look at where everybody is on these islands, they're in the not so wet spot. Right.
Okay.
Nobody wants to be in the wet spot. And
So are we talking like the taint?
Right. Well, my wife and I came up with a whole way to
It
describe.
ain't wet and it ain't
It
dry.
looks like a lady with their arm folded.
So
back.
okay, so
Or
Merritt.
she's like a Karen.
Okay, so Merritt and I figured out that the island of Maui. So the island of Maui for us has one defining feature that we will always know called the armpit, and so this Mailea Bay. So Mailea Bay is like a big deal on Maui, and Mailea Bay is the armpit. Everything north of Mailea Bay is called West Maui, but this whole side of it is Kaanapali Beach, which is kind of like their Waikiki. It's their fancy pants where all the fancy resorts are. That's where the Cliff Diver Hotel is, the Hilton, the Sheraton, everything is up there. Then down here, so this is why I want to talk to you.
Can you show us the mistake on the Pacific?
I can show you the mistake on the Pacific. So one of the things about Hawaii is that people you'll think I'm going to Hawaii. So all of Hawaii is Hawaii. No, there are parts of Hawaii where you can go where the front of your refrigerator, you know the front of your refrigerator, the white part, is rusty on a 2-year-old fridge. Mm-hmm. That's how moist it is. That's how much salt is in the air. Okay. Where a Toyota truck lasts less than it lasts in Cleveland.
No.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
did you see a Century when you were in Hawaii?
I did. Yeah.
I would think there'd be Centuries in Hawaii.
There are more JDMs in Maui and Oahu and places like that than you'd expect because it's very close.
Right.
You know, it costs us $4,000 to ship a Century to Baltimore. It costs like $600 to ship one to Maui, right?
Well, why don't you just do that? And
I
once you
know,
have it
and
in
then
the
drive it
country, you
home.
can just drive it.
Once it's in America, you can drive that bitch home.
True.
But that's where people say this whole thing like, you live in paradise, dude. If you live in Maui, you can ride 365 days out of the year. Microclimates, motherfucker, microclimates. You can't, because when they do get it, so Merritt and I happened to get it the Sunday and Monday that we arrived. We were facing 60-mile-an-hour winds.
Wow. I love wind.
Oh, man, it is awesome in a Honda Element. Not so awesome for the guys that rented the 50cc scooters. Oh. That you could just see them leaving the road surface.
Yeah, because, I mean, they only go 35, so if the wind's 60, you're going backwards.
Yeah, like you were talking about high-profile vehicles. Yeah. When your center of mass is 4 feet on top of the scooter, you're fucked, right? Yeah. So it is a very funny thing. So there's not as many motorcycles as you would think. And the people that live there that own motorcycles, well, they really only bring them out when there's no chance of getting shit hammered, right? Mm-hmm.
But it's still warm though when it rains, right?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. I mean, this whole, so the top of the mountain, this part right here, so, you know, they have this thing that's called Haleakala. And Haleakala is a national park, and it is the top of the mountain. It's over 10,000 feet. There's snow and ice up there.
I was going to say.
There's snow and ice up there, for real. And so here's the part of the trip that I'm going to tell you about that's bad. You guys know that I am no stranger to the Dragon. Mm-hmm. Right? We've all been there. We've all done that. Depending on who you ask, 311, 316 turns in 11, 14 miles, whatever. We've all seen the T-shirts. Some of us have license plate brackets. Whatever. The Dragon. My friends, I'm going to introduce you to the Hana Highway. The Hana Highway makes the Dragon look like a crabby little bitch. The Hana Highway is, in fact, 7,000 turns in some 60-odd miles.
Nice.
It's impossible to count. You can't count the turns in the Hana Highway. You just can't. But here's what I will tell you to make the Hana Highway more interesting to you. I would like to remind you that 50% of the turns are one lane.
What?
Both ways. Meaning, when Steve Sleepy Cinch is heading south on the Hana Highway, and he comes into this section of the hairpin turn, he doesn't know that there's another guy the other side coming the other way because there's a 120-foot elevation difference.
Oh.
So, between the one side and the other side?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. First gear up.
Yeah, and top should be able to look down.
First gear down, waterfall in between you. Beautiful. Spectacular. Which means at the bottom of the turn, you have Asian tourists parking their cars to go out and take pictures. They're not all Asians. To take pictures of the waterfalls.
What percentage?
One of them was.
That creates a problem.
One of them.
Right? That creates ein problem. Okay? So this would be fun. You see this water feature here is that's a waterfall. Okay?
They should have built it.
That's one of like 175 waterfalls, right?
Yeah.
And you'll get sick if you stop at every waterfall on the Hana Highway. You just can't do it. So, but the problem is people in rented Ford Mustangs cross the center line.
Oh, yeah.
And are always going for the apex of the curve because they watch Grand Theft Auto or what have you. Yeah. And they get the top down and no driving skills. And I'm driving a Dodge ProMaster longest, highest transit van.
Precision driving machine.
Yeah. Camper van. About 2,000 over GVWR just based on lumber in the back and shelving and showers and shit like that.
If you stay in your lane, part of your vehicle's over it.
Well, again,
no matter what you do, something's sticking
if I was
out
alone, I'd be hitting the wall,
right?
And now I got this Mustang to deal with. So that turn I've just pulled up for the sake of our audience at home, that turn might in fact look like, well, it's kind of a problem, right?
Did you actually plan to do that?
So I had wanted to drive the Hana Highway. I had heard about the Hana Highway. Many of my friends with motorcycles had said, oh yeah, I drove the Hana Highway on a Vespa. I drove the Hana Highway on a Harley. I drove a Honda Highway on a rented Interceptor. That's fine. Yeah, those things are all 2.5 feet wide. I'm driving something that's 8.5, 9 feet wide, right? It is the definition of the wrong tool for the job. I'm driving a house. Okay, so now
I'm not sure the Japanese tourists were the problem here.
well, yeah, right. Well, the problem was, you'd come up to these places and there'd be a little bridge, and you're approaching the bridge this way. They're approaching the bridge this way, and there's a sign that says "Yield to oncoming traffic." So you yield. So you stop, and they come. There's many one-way bridges in Maui, and the rule is you let 5 or 6 go this way, and then 5 or 6 go that way, and everybody gets along, and you throw the shaka. You throw the shaka at everybody, you're like, yeah, have a great day, aloha.
I like that shocker thing.
The shocker thing's really good, yeah.
What is it, that way?
The shaka, this is the shaka, right?
Wait, like this?
And this is the shocker.
Yeah.
So you have 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink is the shocker.
Yeah, so
the shaka is just the pinky and the thumb.
Okay.
Elevated about here. And shaka is the like, you see some guys in Volkswagens pass each other and they go like this, right? Yeah, peace, man. Right? Jeeps. Right, Jeeps, right? Jeeps do
We do that in Corvettes
Jeeps
too.
do the 2 finger. What did Corvettes do to each other? We'll have to ask Cameron. You keep the cup holder full of hot dogs.
Yeah.
So,
I just laugh at Jeeps when they
the
give
2
me
finger wave.
Yeah, to me.
Yeah.
In my Asia
And your lady boy.
Rockster.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny. People got sick of doing it. That we sell it at Summit.
Yeah.
It's a fake finger that you can glue onto your steering wheel.
Seriously?
Dead serious, man.
The most hilarious Jeep attachment that I've seen is the foot peg. So when you're sitting in your Jeep and you have the doors off,
Oh, get out of here.
you can put your foot outside on your foot peg.
Damn.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So anyhow,
You digress.
So the Hana Highway is a problem, right? Because, and this is my joke. My joke is, it doesn't have to be this bad. They like it this bad. It keeps the tourism to a nice mellow roar.
Do you think it had something with the way they kind of respect the land, so they didn't want to cut into things that they didn't necessarily have to, or something?
617 turds, 59 bridges. Most are only 1 lane. Okay,
I don't like bridges.
That's a bad day of driving. It's 64 miles long.
Damn.
Okay,
but there's a reason for that. I mean, it's terrain.
the terrain is truly impossible.
You really can't cut a straight line through there without doing some major renovations.
No, but that's what I mean.
Unless you put
respect the land,
an elevated highway around the island and had off ramps going into the various different areas,
Let's just
you
make a
couldn't do it.
tunnel.
Yeah, a tunnel, exactly. Well, there's only 1 tunnel in the whole thing. So anyway,
Really?
yeah, 1 tunnel. Yeah, 1 tunnel. Anyway,
I just bring a freaking 24-foot boring machine and go right through that fucker. Straight as an arrow.
it's pretty wicked, man. It's
Like a
pretty wicked.
maggot through a deer's hind quarter.
So there's 2 parts to the Hana Highway, and so anybody who knows about Hana Highway knows there's the Hana Highway, but then there's also the thing that nobody talks about. And it's called the backside to the Hana Highway. So
Yeah, boy.
right. And the same fucking rules apply. Do not rush into the back door of the Hana Highway.
No, you never do that.
Make sure your car's well lubricated.
Yes, absolutely.
What's brown and sticky?
Yeah. The Hana Highway starts up here in a town called Paia. At Mama's Fish Market and all this cool stuff. So there's this cool little town, surfer town up there called Paia. It's cute, Paia, and it's a great little place. And then that's the Hana Highway starts. And all the tourists at 5 o'clock in the morning all decide they're going to do the Hana Highway. And then there's several touristy things, waterfalls. Anytime you see the word Waialua, there's going to be a waterfall. So there's all these waterfalls that all the people want to see and be Instagram and Snapchatty and all that bullshit. Good, fine.
And fall off of.
You do all that. And yeah, Hawaii kills a lot of people. And so a lot of dumb people die in Hawaii. So, and a lot of people laugh about it. So this road is squiggly as fuck, right? And there it goes. But all the tourists start doing this road at the same time. You got it? Cool. Now, if you get a late start, because rather than getting a hotel in any of these places, since I had a camper van, I decided to get a campsite through the National Park Service for $12.
Of which you are a lifetime member.
Lifetime member, right? And if you're a military veteran, you have a lifetime membership. We got a $12 campsite at the Kipahulu Campground. I would like to call your attention to the fact that the Kipahulu Campground is past the end of the Hana Highway.
So they did it the other way around.
So all the tourist guides that are like, okay, you've reached the end of the Hana Highway, turn around and go home now. It's dark, but hopefully you make it.
Hopefully you make it.
Right. So we went another 10 miles beyond Hana to this national park campsite that's beautiful. It's right on the water.
Kipahula Campground.
Kipahula Campground, right.
I was listening.
It's fucking amazing. And it is amazing. And for $12, you can park your camper there. Wow. It's pretty cool. Well, once we got there, we had stopped at a few places like the Black Sand Beach and everything that we'd snuck into. Good story for later. But anyway, we have a thing called Airbnb. And it's pretty cool. Renee and I invented it. It's basically how to get things for free when you're traveling. We're going to publish a book called Airbnb. You're going to love it. So, but anyway, Merritt and I got to the campsite. And after me driving, and look, I have no problem driving on bad roads. In fact, I encourage it. It's great. My problem is when the game level is set for double expert and they're throwing all these non-player characters at me. Right?
They're just dying right and left.
Yeah, these dudes are just head out. Every time I'd come around a corner is another fucking Ford Mustang using all the lanes or the doors open and they're taking Instagram shots in the middle of a fucking turn. And my fuse was gone. And I had lost all of my aloha.
And so this turned into this?
I was giving a one-finger shaka.
You reverted back to a Clevelander.
I was. And so we get to this beautiful place in the middle of fucking gorgeous, beautiful waves crashing against the shore, the 7 sacred pools, whatever the fuck, all these beautiful things that are right. Not kidding. Dude. And I was like, I got to the gate of the national park and this old woman, 70 years old, auntie, whatever, she comes up and she's just like pure Hawaiian. And they hired her to be the guide at the national park because she is pure Hawaiian. And
she's Moana's grandmother.
Yes. And every kid that's in this entire part of the island is related to her.
Damn, she was a husky when she was young.
Learn about the Hawaiian culture.
I'm kidding.
There is no rules about polygamy.
Right.
They don't have a word for that. Right. So she is the sweetest thing in the world, and we're getting there, and I'm like, yeah, we got our camper van. Here's my thing and everything. And she just was like, oh, the camping spot you booked. There's no cars allowed there. And I didn't know that when I booked it, but I figured it out later. And she's like, so I'm going to put you in a better camping spot over here with a better view and everything. Okay. I broke the rules and you're going to give me a better camping site
normally
now?
they'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see that parking lot over there by the dumpsters? Yeah. That's where you park your rig, buddy.
Did she hand you a Mai Tai?
She's like, oh, well, you want to go over here to this spot and you want to go over there and it's great. And, just park this way. You'll get a better view. And when the sun comes up in the morning, it'll be pretty. And like this woman was great. She was she was the Hawaii Tourism Board. And, we know people that work for the Metro Parks. They're not trying to sell you the Metro Park.
Some of them are, though.
It's a job.
The dude that does the flower beds.
That's true. Yeah.
He's sells them. He is.
A couple of the guys used to get mad at us for our mountain biking back there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They were part Cleveland. Like you could tell they were from Cleveland.
No,
they were representing.
This lady was like, I think she got off the clock at 7 or off the clock at 6, and we rolled in at 6:03, and she still took all the time in the world to make sure we knew exactly where everything was.
She lives on Paradise.
Exactly.
She gets to tell people about Paradise
all day long.
Like, you know.
She was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, but meanwhile, my nerves were shot.
Yeah.
Right? Meanwhile, I was like,
okay, you've made it to heaven.
I've made it to heaven.
Check this shit out.
I need 73 cocktails. I needed a cigarette, and I didn't have one. Right?
You just need to listen to blues music while you're driving, because that really relaxes you.
You listen to nothing when you're on the Hana Highway. You listen to the rocks falling off the road in front of you. It's fucking terrifying. No shit. The entire side of the road is put up in cages.
100% situational awareness.
100%. Absolutely. I only avoided situations by hearing what was under my tires.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. For real. And you're off the side of the road and everything's wow. Right? So here I am. Yay, we're here. And so we had rented that campsite for 3 nights.
Wow.
That's the maximum you can rent it for, 3 nights.
Yeah.
That's what you do. And we had a camper van. Did I mention the camper van?
Yep.
Airbnb of a thing that has wheels, right? And it was cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything bad about the camper van other than it was a Dodge. Well, Fiat. But we all know. So the transmission could go at any moment. It had 24,000 miles on it. I didn't trust it one bit. So we put our shit together. We finally get everything down. I'm up on the roof of this thing. It's got a whole deck built on the top of it. It's badass. And I'm sitting up there just looking at the stars. I got my little Starfinder app out and I'm looking at all the constellations. You can't see the Big Dipper. It's below the horizon line.
Wow.
Because the Earth is round, bitch. So, yeah.
Wait, I'm not a flat earther. Come on now. Come on.
Okay.
No, he's a steel mooner.
Steel mooner. So
The moon is a spaceship.
Right. So we do all this shit. So we wake up the next morning and we're going to do this amazing hike up into the woods and go to this waterfall and all this cool shit. It's great, you know? And we do this. This is what we do. And so I hike up there and there's a place you can go in Central America and it says this is the 1,000 steps. You go into this town and there's 1,000 steps and you go up 1,000 steps. And I did that and I counted and there were 937 steps. They oversold it. All right.
It's like motorcycle companies.
But going up to the bamboo forest and the waterfalls up there.
You looked at the side of the steps and stamped on the side was 937.
Only after I'd been there. So,
Like a cylinder.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and then this year it's 1,000.
It's 1,000 cc's. Yeah. Right. So I did this hike with Merritt. And did this hike and to go to see this waterfall and stuff and the bamboo forest and shit. And it's a really beautiful hike. But the problem was I don't like upstairs or downstairs. I like flat.
Down's worse, though.
Down is worse if you got bad knees. Down's terrible. Yeah. So I didn't count going up because I never knew when it was going to be over. Right? I didn't. You have no idea when the trail's over. Right? And so I got to the point on the trail where they were like, you're at the 2 mile point. And this is where the bamboo forest starts. So I was like, okay, great. We walked in the bamboo forest for all. I said, okay, this doesn't get any more bamboo. Like, it was all the bamboo. Seriously.
It was all the...
You guys, there can't be any more bamboo.
You were at this point. You were bamboozled.
I was bamboozled, John. There was bamboo from the size of your pinky to the size of a fucking log, right?
What are little shoots? Like, would they grow through you if you were laying on the ground?
Absolutely. I'm convinced. That's got to be real.
All right.
Okay,
Wait,
so
bamboo will grow through you?
we'll talk about that later. It's a torture.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what they do.
Yeah, they plant bamboo under you and anyway. So, okay.
What's brown and sticky?
A bamboo stick.
It's great. Yeah, there you go.
All right. So anyway, I counted the steps down, 1,376. Ooh. And these aren't steps. These are logs and blocks and mud and things you need. Yeah, bad. So like we go all the way down that. That's great. It's cool. We do all that. And so we get done and I'm kind of like, okay, so the next thing we were going to do is we were going to go up to the top to over 10,000 feet to the top of Haleakala, this mountain right in the middle of the goddamn island. And so the only way to get there, you guys are going to love this, there are no roads that go from here, the southeast corner of Maui, to the top of Haleakala, a straight line, because that would be a road that looks like that, and they don't do that. We would have to go all the way back around the same Hana Highway we had just done.
Oh, no.
67 some fucking miles, plus this extra 50-mile part, and then up a squiggly road to go to the top of Haleakala, over 10,000 feet, where you're looking down at the clouds. Yay.
Please don't tell me you told Merritt to go fuck her hat.
Okay. or we could take the much shorter route, which is called the backside of Hana, which is where Charles Lindbergh's grave is, who was dying in a hospital bed in New York, and he said, take me back to Maui. I would rather live 2 days on Maui than 3 months in a hospital bed in New York. And they did, and he died, and that was it. Wow. And so they buried him there. But anyway, so this road that we went on, which is called the Punani Highway,
Highway, I think, is overselling it by a lot.
One, it's overselling the motherfuck out of it because it's all just carved into the side of a cliff face. And there are YouTube videos, you should watch them, about the backside of Hana, because it's not like, oh, it's 2 lanes except for on the turny parts where it's 1 lane. No, the whole motherfucker is 1 lane. And I have had to back, I literally had to back down a mountain in reverse in a camper van.
I kept forgetting you were in the big thing, not the other.
Yeah, and so everyone's like, yeah, you can do this if you're in like a Dodge Colt.
Yeah.
I wasn't in a Dodge Colt.
I mean, if you were in a Vespa... Could you do it?
Beautiful, baby,
Yeah.
all day long. Rock on, except for the people coming the other way.
You can take the Vespa and hold it up while people drive past
Yes,
you.
exactly right. And there are points on this road where it is a 900-foot drop to your death, and there is no suggestion of a guardrail.
Fuck that. No.
Right, right. Not even a suggestion of a guardrail. But the other thing that made me want to take the backside to Honda.
I, for one, am glad you're still here.
Hey, you know, one.
Yeah, but you have
They call us a
skills, though,
divorce
too.
highway, right? So I've done Pikes Peak. I mean, I've driven a lot of stuff in cars and motorcycles. And to me, having a big vehicle, airport shuttle bus, I drove an airport shuttle bus through the Dragon with a trailer on it.
Right.
We went down to Kentucky, and I'm corner to corner, fucking wheel well to wheel well, arch and arch, and I love driving weird shit.
I was nervous in a rental car on 89A in Arizona.
Arizona, yeah, 89 Alpha is pretty good road,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, Grand Caravan. But so here's the thing.
You're nervous at 50 miles an hour on Route 20 out to Oberlin.
But my discussion with Merritt was,
I know I've passed him at like 97.
Yeah, because I'm trying to pass, because I'm stuck behind you on your verses, and that's as fast as it can go.
at 12 noon, I thought the backside of Hana is going to be solid gold. We're going to be going, nobody's coming this way.
Right.
Nobody's coming this way.
All right.
It's 12 noon. Nobody's coming this way.
Please, nobody come this way.
There were 6 cars. 6 cars. So 6 times
Are there
bad
at least
decisions.
pull-offs somewhere?
Well,
anywhere?
John,
Nowhere.
there's a point where the road goes from being 1 lane to 1.5 lane. And the rule is the guy on the cliff side
All the way up. You're like, "Eh."
climbs up the side of the
Has
cliff
to
as
go
much
up.
as he can.
Yeah.
You climb up the cliff as much as you can get your car. And I mean, I had this thing over 30 degrees. And then that person that goes around you, he's dipping his toes over the grass edge.
Yeah, because I was
Oh
gonna
my
say
God.
there's got to be like if you go too far, it's
Trust
gonna
me.
be worse.
Yeah.
Right?
It's game over. Right.
Well, I mean, also just
yeah,
passing
yeah,
From
yeah.
both sides.
So, no,
Both-
there's a lot of it's not going to work.
I can't even, that
Are
makes
you
me
gonna-
sick to my stomach.
Are you
thinking
going to
of it.
back up?
All right.
Or am I going to back up?
I just saw another video
Yeah.
of a dude on a GSA.
Yeah.
And he was in one of these type of road
Yeah.
situations, and he was against a wall, and the truck was like, "Okay, I can go by," and it snagged his pannier and dragged him fucking backwards, and then dumped.
That's
the
because
bike
he had
off
those
the side.
stupid fucking huge cases on the side.
Right.
Yeah. And so this
Idiot.
road has been closed several times.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Several times. This is the road.
When a
you know?
hurricane or something happens, it's fucked probably. Right?
It is, and it has been fucked numerous times, right? And this road has been fucked numerous times. So the backside to Hana is not playing around. This is
Is
just,
that a Camaro?
That's a Camaro.
So Camaro.
There are so
The
many.
next picture,
There are
he was
so
in the water.
many. There are so many rental Camaros and rental Mustangs. It's disgusting. And because I know that the mountain is on the right hand side of this particular picture, I know that he's going towards Hana on the backside. We were going away from Hana, so the mountain was on our passenger side the entire way.
Yeah, you're right. It's
Right.
not gonna. There's not a side coming up on your left anytime soon.
I think you'd be
Not at
better
all.
off having it the other way. I mean, going the way you went. Don't
Right.
you think?
Right. Absolutely.
Well, it's
I
one
completely
lane,
agree.
So it doesn't really matter.
No, but I'm saying if you're driving
Yes.
though, in a standard left-hand drive,
Yep.
I would want to know if I could see over the
True.
cliff.
You're
Yes.
absolutely right.
Yes.
And that's what, and a
Yes.
lot of that went into the decision making process because I said, I can drive back to reality. I can drive back to civilization the way I came in, the same 68 miles. But I'm going to face all the people who are driving out
Yeah.
this way.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And that's going to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tourists. Or I can take my chances on the road everybody tells you not to. Now that we're back, I can say there was a sign in my rental vehicle,
Oh.
in my Airbnb house on wheels, that said specifically, "Thou shalt not proceed past Twin Falls."
You think it has a GPS tracker?
Oh, I was certain it did. I don't think it does, though. Because thou shalt not proceed past Twin Falls. Now, if I owned this rig on the island of Maui, I would motherfucking have an air tracker in that thing. Now, the problem is there's no signal anywhere on the island, so you wouldn't be able to know about it. But I figured for sure that when Merritt and I were passing this part of the road up here where Twin Falls is, that we were going to get a very nasty phone call that says, by the way, you just lost your $1,500 deposit. You went past Twin Falls. And I was prepared for that.
No damages. Fuck you.
And
Well, that would have sucked, though. Can you imagine getting in an accident? Then now you're fucked.
now, yes.
Now you lose your $1,500 deposit.
Now, here's the other thing, too. If you're on the backside of Hana, there is no cell phone service for this entire distance.
Oof.
So if you do get in a collision or go over the cliff, there's no way to call anybody to help you.
I would have taken one of those spot things. You know, like those.
Again,
Yeah.
didn't think about that when I rented the rig, right? Didn't think about that. So on this Show Me on the Doll Where the Man Touched You, again, our favorite line at Cleveland Moto, around right here is where Merritt lost her shit.
I was just going to say, she had
Yeah,
to be fucking
yeah.
like, all right, Phil.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys,
Because she's safety conscious beyond.
Oh, yeah.
she's a rule follower.
Yeah,
I've
yep.
seen 'em in my life.
Okay,
Yep.
1/2 mile outside of our campsite, going past Lindbergh's grave. I did tell you there was a monsoon that blew through on Monday and Tuesday of our trip.
Right.
Not 1 mile away from us undertaking the backside to Hana. And I got this little tour guide app, and he's like, so you were brave enough to decide to take the backside to Hana. Mm-hmm. Well, friends, you've obviously done something that everybody's told you not to do. I'm going to tell you the cool, interesting things as we go along here on the backside to Hana. But I'm going to try to stay quiet because there's some shit here that can
You need to
kill
pay
you.
attention.
Right? Yeah. I don't want you listening to me instead of listening to the road surface. Right? Whatever the speed limit sign says, have it. Right? Don't take any chances because you go around a corner, the road may not actually be there. Or there might be a construction vehicle that's putting the road back together from the storm that blew through here last week. No shit, guys. Not 5 minutes into us leaving the campsite, driving down the road, and we're kind of like, oh, it's a 1-lane road. It's okay. It's country style. There is a high-tension power cable that is hanging at 7 feet.
Oh, no. And you're in a tall fucking.
Our house is like 9'7",
Yeah.
10 foot.
Jeez.
It's grounded. It's on rubber.
True.
Okay.
Go get some of that bamboozle.
So I wish I would have taken a photo, and I would have taken a photo if I knew that it wouldn't have resulted in an instant divorce decree. Merritt went out,
You don't want evidence.
and whoever lives there had done the clothesline trick with a 4-inch piece of bamboo. So they'd taken a 4-inch diameter piece of bamboo, cut a slot into the top of it, a notch, and they had propped up the power line. So the line was 6'7" or 7 feet across the road, except our vehicle was over 9 feet tall.
Right.
So Dr. Waters had to go out and grab a piece of bamboo under a high tension power line and lift up the high tension power line
Well, you
high
passed
enough
it.
for me to drive a metal vehicle underneath it. My wife has balls of steel because honestly, if you told me, Phil, get out of this van, grounded, run over to that high tension power line that's hooked to a piece of vegetable material,
Yeah. Yep.
not grounded,
Not brown and sticky.
and use that piece of green
that's sketchy
bamboo
as fuck.
to hold up a high tension 220 power line
Sizzling.
Yeah.
so I can drive my van under it.
At least 220 knocks you off, though. It doesn't make you clamp down.
Also true.
True.
Very good point. I don't think Dr. Waters had that piece of confidence-inspiring information in her back pocket when she did this. She dutifully got out of the van, lifted up that fucking pole of bamboo, hoisted that son of a bitch up, and I drove under it. And she's standing there holding it for like the guy behind me in the Jeep. And I was like, get back in here. And she's like, well, I'm holding it for him. And I'm like, that's his fucking problem.
Yeah, at that point, right.
It was high enough for him to get under it. So she's back there arguing with the pole to make sure it's like perfectly vertical and shit. And I'm like, while we're young, you know? So she hops back in.
At your leisure.
At your leisure. But after significantly less turns, but far more dangerous. So the rule is simple. I would rather have 20 absolutely deadly crevasses than 700 moderately dangerous turns that have tourists coming the other way.
Yeah.
All right? So give me 6 tourists, 6 people coming the other way. But yeah, there were points where there was, you know, there was nothing there, and somebody had recently piled rocks up, and we had to put our tires on the right rocks to make sure we could go. So it is true what they're saying. So Hana Highway is its own adventure. That's great. But the backside to Hana, hey.
But if you wanted the adventure, but maybe it toned it down just a little
maybe
bit.
not had a vehicle that was the size of my vehicle.
Like maybe
So
get a
like
nice
a 250
little two-seater. Or
a 250 would have been perfect.
Yes, and absolutely, guys. And this is the thing. I have a lot of friends that said, I did a Hana on a rented Kawasaki. I did a Hana on a Vespa. I did a Hana on a Harley. Well, that's great. Those are all the right vehicle for the job because you have an exit strategy because your vehicle's only 2 feet wide. Right. There's no reason anywhere on Maui to have a bagger.
No. Yeah.
Think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yet, what did I see?
Oh, no.
My favorite nemesis.
What you got in them bags, buddy?
70-year-old white man with a bagger. There's no helmet law in Hawaii. So they're just loving it. I saw more Oldsmobile Buick Burgundy street glides in Maui than I think I've seen in Cleveland. Because you can ship them there, right? And a lot of people that own timeshares in Maui or own a house in Maui have their Harley there. Now, they don't ride them very much because that aforementioned microclimate I was talking about. So it can be a handful, but that's it. So that's it. Road to Hana. Fuck it. Fuck you. I'm not doing it again. Bullshit. No fun.
To your point, I heard that like the used bike scene.
Yeah.
They're like 3-year-old bikes are like dirt cheap, but they're fucking destroyed.
They're destroyed.
Yeah.
And that was what we saw a lot of. So we saw a lot of absolutely roached out 7 and 8 year old. So there's two categories. There's Harley street glides that are polished with a diaper that live in a garage. And then there's motorcycles that work for a living and they're not in good shape.
Right.
Yeah, they're not in good shape. And because you're traveling along and, this red mud comes down out of the mountain. Did I mention it's 400 inches of rain there? And so there's these just torrential downpours that come. You could be swimming in a little like waterfall, tidal pool. That's great. And forget that yesterday at 9 a.m. it rained a lot up there in a part of the mountain that you're not from. And then that water takes 9 or 10 hours to get where you are. Yeah. And then you get flushed out of the pool and drop 75 feet to your death.
Yes. Yeah. So that's something that terrifies me about. You see these people, oh, look at me. I'm standing underneath a 900-foot waterfall. Well, what happens if a log goes over that waterfall?
Did you see my video?
No, I didn't.
I posted a video where I took my iPhone and I swam into the pool under a 140-foot waterfall. And I swam with my iPhone right under it, and like the water's just straight up coming down on my iPhone. Yeah. And we had to hike like an hour to get back to that waterfall. Yeah. But it's beautiful. And I had this guy tell me going in, this guy's like, I jump into every waterfall. I jump into the water at the base of every waterfall, because in Kauai, in Maui, there's hundreds of waterfalls. Because again, 10,000 feet's got to go down somewhere, so you get all these waterfalls. And he goes, yeah, because here's the science, man. So if check this out, if the waterfall is 40 feet tall, right, the water goes over, and then it digs out the ground underneath where the water hits. Totally. It totally digs it out. So it like digs it out. Totally. So it like, so the waterfall goes down and millions of pounds of water every day create a hole under where the water goes.
Got a lot of rocks and stuff.
So it might look like the water's only a foot or two deep, but where the water goes in, right in front of the waterfall, it's going to make a hole that's 1/3 as deep as the water going into it.
Wow.
I got the science.
Okay.
But in reality,
so
it's not clean.
So this guy tells me all about like how that works. Right. And so I'd always wondered about that. I see tourists jumping into holes where the waterfall, jump in, right? And they're like, yeah, because, it's cool. And I was like, I've swam in various oceans all over the planet. There's really sharp, stabby rocks.
So what you're saying and what he's saying
and
is
anything that's volcanic.
You can always jump off a waterfall.
As long as the waterfall's over a certain number of feet height.
Yeah. Because if it's a 40-foot waterfall, there's going to be at least a 15-foot hole underneath
Thank you.
it.
But he's saying, like, don't worry, even debris will be washed away. Don't even think about it. It's not a
millions
thought in
of
your head.
pounds of water per day have scooped that out.
So don't even, you're not even being unsafe.
Millions of pounds of water per day for thousands of years have scooped that area out.
How do you know it's been running for
science, bitch?
So I do two things.
Oh boy.
Do first what? Ask.
Sure.
So I found a person with brown skin who looks like they've been there a while.
Right.
Like anybody who's leading a 1.5 hour...
Not a burned out white guy.
Right. Anybody who's leading a 1.5 hour hike up the fucking mountain that says like, you're probably going to get hurt. don't come on this trip.
Right.
You're probably gonna, those are the trips Merritt and I sign up for. Yeah. We're taking the doors off the helicopter. That's what we sign up for, right? That's what we do. And, you know, this hike, 90% of the fucking trip, you misstep, you turn around, you take a text. Whoa! That's the last place we saw him, right? You're going to send in a helicopter? For what? Mm-hmm. Helicopters don't carry 1,000 foot of rope. So...
Drop a bag of lye on them.
Here's a sandwich. I threw a baseball-sized rock off of one of the trails we were hiking on and counted 9 seconds before I heard it hit the splash.
The tourist who was down below you?
Yeah, I was like,
that was
motherfucker! What the
Anybody who's hiking to the bottom of that river, hell to pay. Because I saw a baseball-sized rock and I'm like, I understand how fast things fall. I wonder how far it is from where we're walking on this trail to where
9.8 meters per second.
9.8 meters. Yeah.
Hey, there's a couple. There's a couple, man. They scratched together. They're on their 10-year wedding anniversary. They huddle off into the middle of nowhere to have this secluded romantic time. He lays her down. He gives her a kiss, and they're gonna have this fucking intimate moment. And you see Phil and then dead. Just fucking right in her fucking bean right there.
313.8 meters.
You know you'd finish, too.
313 meters?
Anyway.
And so when we were doing these hikes and we're like, there's a sign at the beginning of the hike that says, you know, don't go off the trail.
So that's 3 football fields.
You can die anywhere on this trail.
Wow.
And so we're hiking up this trail and it's all beautiful and shit like that. And we're like, so we see like the trail and we're like right adjacent to the trail, not far off the trail. I'm like, I wonder what's over there. So I go walk off the trail and Merritt's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Didn't you see the first 3 signs? And I'm like, yeah, but
it's right there.
It's right there. So I go and I look and I'm like, okay, I got to move a branch out of the way, move a branch out of the way, move another. And then I move another branch out of the way and I realize it's romancing the stone.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, oh, fuck. And I'm like, and it's been raining, right? Or whatever. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I go back and I look and I find myself a good sized rock. So I find a good sized rock.
As one does.
As you do.
As you do. So I find a good sized rock and I fucking lob it. Like I throw it and I don't, I'm not cheating. I don't measure from the taint, right? I measure from the top, right? So I wait until the rock passes past me and I start counting.
Right.
8 seconds. 313 meters.
That's crazy.
It's 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. It's 1,000 feet. So had I fallen off that, 1,000 feet.
Imagine
It wouldn't have mattered.
screaming for 8 seconds.
Do you know all the things you can think about for 8 seconds?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you have a time to pull one
You have to take a couple breaths.
you fucking...
Do I want my head to go through my asshole or do I want my asshole to go through my head?
As you're finishing.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
I'm trying to skydive it out. I'm like, okay, let's get turned over. Let's try to get some ground velocity. Superman it out. Until I die.
Okay.
There's a soft white underbelly had a dude. You ever watch that?
Oh, that's a great.
It's a great fucking
show.
YouTube thing. But
Yes.
he just usually he did drug addicts and all this weird shit. But he had this last one was a guy. He's a skydiving fucking fanatic.
Right.
Was like getting his like license and all this shit.
Oh, those
Jumped
lunatics
out.
deserve to die, every one of them.
First shoot went fucked up. Second one came out, wrapped around the first one, and it started spinning. And that was at 4,000 feet.
That.
3 mistakes were made.
Yeah, and then at that point, he tried to undo all the shit,
Right.
and do whatever he's gonna do.
No, streamer that bitch in.
Well, nope, he passed out at that point. 'Cause he was spinning
he was
so
spinning so
fucking hard.
fast.
And when he woke up, so they estimated that by the time that the resistance
It's a
stopped
streamer,
happening
yeah,
was
it's a
about
streamer.
2,300 feet.
Yeah.
So he went 2,300 feet into a fucking cornfield.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's not A-okay.
He's still alive.
But he ain't doing any long math.
but he has the interview and it's touching. I mean, and here's the fucked up thing though.
Yeah.
Just probably like any of us would say for motorcycling.
Yeah.
They're like, if the FAA would allow,
Right.
he's I'd be in a plane today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's ready to go, dude.
I am never
Absolutely.
skydiving, and
Yeah.
I am never bungee cording. I am definitely never bungee cording. Never bungee cording.
Dude, think about the ride operator. He sees John, he's like, fuck.
Oh, let's see. Let's bring out the bungee cord.
No, thank you.
Anybody who's running the franchise, he goes to New Zealand island.
No.
Peggy's like, you know what we should do, John? We should go bungee cording.
No.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
Look,
no.
Me first.
I was just in an airplane where I was in a helicopter. Did I mention? Like, I was in a helicopter that had no doors.
Right. You're just freeballing it.
Let me tell you, and you'd think, okay, no doors. That means the harnesses are going to be at least a 4-point harness.
At least, yeah.
This was the same bullshit seatbelt you get in a 737.
Just one?
One.
Across your fucking
Lap
Johnson?
belt. Lap belt.
Hell no, dude.
With the
No,
fucking crosswinds and all that
nothing on your
shit.
fucking
That's it,
up
man.
here?
Nothing.
It's easy to get rid of bodies there.
True.
I don't really give a shit. Who's gonna know?
Wait, and what size helicopter? There's like a Bell 500.
Don't sign the book.
Tiny.
Cash
Small helicopter.
only.
So what, you guys
Magnum
are together in the
PI?
back.
Magnum PI size helicopter. Yeah.
Four-seater?
What's that?
Four-
It ultimately, you could put 6 people in it, but
Okay.
they would have to be literally inside each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giggity.
It would have to be.
Turducken.
Wow.
Yeah, for real.
Wow.
Yeah, it'd have to be centipede.
Was it a turbine or was it like a?
It's turbine.
Okay.
It's turbine. Yeah.
I thought maybe
But,
you were.
but the long and short of it is,
Was it steam powered?
Oh, but I meant,
You're
know,
like,
like speed buggy.
yeah. And I've been in those too.
Shemp car.
Yeah. I've been in those too.
Left.
Yeah, slap car.
That's sketchy, man.
The helicopter we went up in was a legit. I mean, it's a legit thing. And,
Well, yeah, you're here.
Magnum PI quality.
You came back,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
we figured
exactly.
you did all right.
Right. Yeah. And you know, when we go to different islands, we always want to go to all of the island. So no matter what island we go to, we will circumnavigate the island, which is hard to do in some Hawaiian islands because a lot of Hawaiian islands don't go all the way around. And I know that's hard for a lot of people who live
Well,
here.
they
to
go all the way
understand.
around, but you can't go
Thank
all the
you.
way around.
Exactly. And that's Kauai is one of those islands. It doesn't. The roads don't go all the way around.
Right.
So you get to a certain part of Kauai,
I'm taking a smoke break.
and the roads fucking stop. And for that, you need a helicopter.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
And so, but that's one of those like, oh shit moments where you're like, okay, let's do this. And then you get there and you realize like when you sign up for a helicopter and 2 out of the people that signed up for the helicopter just punk out on the pad. Because they're like strapping you into the helicopter, putting your goggles on or whatever. And like 2 of the people are like, I can't do this.
Oh, shit.
Because there's like perfectly good helicopters with doors are taking off left and right.
You not got the experience.
And I'm like, I don't want
not the-
any
Here's the difference.
doors.
Here's the difference. If it's successful,
Right.
you had a better time.
The best trip ever.
Of course,
If
yeah.
either
Absolutely.
one is unsuccessful, the doors didn't fucking matter.
Right. And for me,
Yeah,
That's true.
right.
The structural rigidity of a helicopter, the doors don't make
The
any
doors
difference.
make no difference
no,
at all.
that's
true.
The doors are
That's
purely
true.
a comfort feature.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like you're not.
That's true.
I watched MASH for years. Right. Those guys were on the skids.
Yeah, put me on the stretcher.
Put me on the stretcher. I'm fine.
Face down.
Face down. Give me a camera. I'm fine. And that's exactly what that idea is. There's a lot of really stupid shit to do in Hawaii that you can really, really get hurt on. And those vendors, those helicopter rental places, the places that do they don't have a great track record.
They're LLC, so it doesn't really matter to them anyway.
Oh,
They've lost a few.
So since you brought it up,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to suffer through this. So if you can believe this, the FAA in their ultimate wisdom,
Yeah.
back in 2012 when I had my drone company, I was flying the big Sinstar 8s, the big huge drones.
The
and
monsters,
stuff.
yeah. Right.
I got contacted by the company that does SNL. They were doing the Rock Hall Awards. The production team was doing the live in Cleveland
Yes.
Rock Hall,
Right.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
So they hired me and my company to do all like the gimbal work, and then they wanted me to do a bunch of drone shots of the Rock Hall.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had to, because I had my license, and I still have my license, but I had a 333 at the time, so I had to apply for a COA and do all this shit, which is a certificate of authorization. And,
Fair enough.
And they said no. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, well, it's right next to the airport. I'm like, well, the airport's aware of this, and like,
Yeah.
they're shutting
Yeah, I
down
was just gonna
because
say
of the
that.
Rock Hall, blah, blah. And they said,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, we're not comfortable with that being that right downtown Cleveland. So the production team was like, well, what if he hangs out of a helicopter holding the gimbal?
Right.
They're like, oh, that's fine.
That's fine. A helicopter's okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you
But the
shitting
drone
me?
is not
No,
okay.
by 20-pound. It was a big
Right.
machine. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It would have been
No, but
about
still.
50. It would have been about 52 pounds of gear.
Right.
It would have been a red
Yeah, yeah.
lens. And
Yeah.
So about
Yeah.
52 pounds, and I could have taken off 51 feet from the Rock Hall, flown up, and gone back with a wide angle and got the shot.
Yeah.
And
You
landed
didn't need
over
that much.
no one.
Yeah,
Nobody,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
But instead, they were cool with me strapping in.
Yeah.
And I'm scared of heights, so I basically was like bolted into this thing, and I was hanging the thing off the side.
Yeah.
And I got the shot, but they were cool with the helicopter coming down
Totally
into Cleveland
fine.
with a human being
Stupid.
hanging out of it.
Because they don't care about your life.
No, instead of a fucking little drone. Well, it wasn't little, but a drone.
Again,
getting the shot.
You piss with the dick you got. They know about helicopters.
Yeah,
they didn't know about drones.
True.
Yeah.
So this thing, this whole crater that blew out and made some of the Hawaiian Islands many years ago, thousands of years ago, this crater, this giant fucking blew out the side of Kauai, and consequently built these amazingly steep cliffs and shit like that, and waterfalls, 400 waterfalls in like one little area.
Dudes and like skydivers and shit go.
Well, there's a thing called the Blue Hole. So there's this hike called the Blue Hole. Yeah. And the Blue Hole is called the Blue Hole because when you hike all the way down into the bottom of it, if you don't die, you look up, and the mountain is all the way around you. You're in the crater, and all you can see is a blue hole. It's the sky.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's a blue hole.
Oh,
right. It's called the Blue Hole. You're not looking down into the blue hole. You're looking up and out of the blue hole. So
The blue hole's a fish hatchery now.
Well, but this blue hole is So
Our blue hole.
Waialealea or Mount Waialea. I'm terrible at my Hawaiian pronunciations. Every time you see a picture of this motherfucker, it's shrouded in clouds. And you see these waterfalls coming down the side, and it's shrouded in clouds. And they have what's called the weeping wall, the second wettest spot on Earth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? But this is all basically a giant fucking crater. Okay? And when the crater blew up, parts of the island were found hundreds of miles away on Oahu. So soil, rock structures that only exist in this one ecosystem are found hundreds of miles away. So how big of an explosion is it that it sends rocks hundreds of miles away? Pretty cool. And so this is looking down into it. So it just so happens that when we were there, the weather, because the monsoon I'd mentioned in the first 2 days, had taken all the water out of the system. And so we show up at this helicopter ride, and our pilot comes out, and our pilot is like, okay, so anyway, I'm your pilot today, and we need to get this bird up in the air right now because the trade winds are going to blow in at about noon, and we can't wait for that. We have clear sky over the crater.
Ooh.
We are going to go into the crater from the high side, which is something you can never do because helicopters are not allowed to fly through clouds because they don't fly instrument IFR flying rules in these tourist environments. It's all VFR. Right. If you can't see it, you can't fly, so you're not allowed to go through the clouds. This is part of the island that is normally under clouds. So when they don't have clouds, all these stick jockeys are 100% like we were going, right? So basically it's like instead of
surfer, he was like hitting a bowl, like, come on, dude.
Oh yeah. And so instead of like, so we're not going to show you this, we're not going to show you that, we're going to show you that. You can see all that from the land. We are going straight there at 200 miles an hour.
Hell yeah.
With no doors.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And we're going to go through the Grand Canyon of the South Pacific. And yeah, this guy left nothing to chance. I thought we were in a Top Gun video.
Nice.
And this dude took us over the top of that thing with much pride, dropped us in, and we did the whole Jurassic Park descent along the wall. Lost our mind. The guy in the front lost his lunch. One of the guys was like, I'm not doing so good. And the pilot...
fuck up.
I looked the pilot up. The pilot has an entire Instagram thing because he was like the Los Angeles police chase chopper pilot for one of the news teams out there who was like notorious for like flying under bridges.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's that guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's got a crazy whole YouTube channel. Like times he used his helicopter to go places you're not supposed to go.
I would have injected 2 marijuanas and fucking got onto that fucking flight.
It's like Air America where he's like
I'm not joking at all.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah. This particular trip, and anytime somebody says,
did he hang it like sideways?
He did all the things. And he did. To say that we got our money's worth is an absolute understatement.
Nice.
This guy considered it a personal challenge. He had the weather in his advantage, that there was not one cloud in the sky. He knew.
Deserve a free shout out. Get the people listening. They want to go and get this fucking experience. Who do they talk to?
Well, the good news is, it is completely weather dependent. Right. And the good news is, if you're booking a helicopter flight on Kauai, which you're doing this to see this particular view.
Yeah, sick.
This view you cannot get from the land, right? You need to either be in a boat. The beach that this guy's standing on takes 2 days to hike to. It's only 11 miles, but it's the worst 11 miles of your life. And many people die trying to get to the beach he's standing on. So when you are, when you're there, this Polahale, so this whole area is just a vertical fucking hellscape, but it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And you need a helicopter. So if you don't have a helicopter, you're not going to get to see it. The best you're going to do is like a little view from over here, a little view from there. We hiked all the way to the top of this bitch. Waimea Canyon Trail. We did all that. But these little beaches, the Honopu Beach and the Kalalau Beach, these are the beaches where, you know, you've seen these shots in many videos and TV shows and stuff you've watched. You just didn't realize.
Have you seen Lost?
Yeah, exactly. And this is what we're there for. This is the money shot. Well, the trick is there's no clouds. So there's no clouds so the helicopters could get in there. Wow. Every fucking helicopter pilot was like you said, surf's up.
Yeah.
They were all like, we need to get off the ground right now.
Because if you're into it's like any of us. I don't give a fuck if it's a motorcycle tourist.
They were like, thank you for paying for my gas.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
These guys were like, John, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Thank you for paying for my gas. So you guys who are brave enough to sign up for a silly thing and spend a ridiculous amount of money. The phrase helicopter is not cheap.
No, like an hour is $2,300 usually.
For our trip, for us, in our helicopter, I think it was $700 a couple. Something like that.
That's because they're breaking it up.
They're breaking it up, right? So they're breaking it up.
Yeah.
And they're spending no time on the ground, right? So it is, rotor's still in motion. You're unloading and loading like MASH. Hot LZ kind of thing. This guy was so excited to get to this shot and to go into the crater, which is something they can never do. So he was so excited to get into the crater. And so when I was booking this, there was a particular flight that you could take and spend a lot of money. I mean, an insane amount of money. And the helicopter flies into the crater and then takes you to the bottom of the waterfall from Jurassic Park and parks and lands and shuts the motor off. And you get to have a wine and cheese lunch at the foot of the crater. And I almost booked it to give my wife serious big dick energy, right? Now, I'm happy I didn't book it because the pilot who works for the company that would have been happy to take my money says about 5% of the people that book that trip
go on it,
get to go to the bottom of the waterfalls because you can't fly into the crater if there's clouds.
Act of God. Sorry, dude.
So the best I can do is give you the rim job. I can give you the close. I can give you the over the pants.
We'll give you 5% back just to take
take the sting off. But you're still booked.
Yeah.
And he's like, so 90% of the people who book that don't get to actually do the landing at the foot of the thing and swimming in the pond, the lake and whatever. Yeah. So holy shit.
Nice.
Back to the thing. Talked to the locals. Found out that if a waterfall is 100 feet deep, that the safe zone underneath it 5 feet.
Yeah, that guy was full of shit.
So unless your ass is made of flubber, don't jump off the rocks.
Nice.
So the place where I shot my little video of being under the waterfall that's 140 feet deep, I'm standing on the bottom.
Yeah. I hope that guy did a fucking double jack fall.
I'm in the fucking water, standing on the bottom with a camera over my head, shooting up it, and it hurts your face.
Did you see him 2 days later? And he's like, "Hi, Phil."
Did you take my advice? No, but I mean, like,
No, he was driving back from that murder in Oregon.
I was so, and I'm swimming under this thing, and I'm like, I asked the guide, I was like, so, he goes, no, man. He goes, no way. He goes, if you want to do cliff diving, there's places you can go and do cliff diving. Anyone here will tell you. Yeah. You can go jump off of cliffs. It's totally fine. It's great.
I don't jump off a perfectly good cliff.
Right. Yeah. But he's like, but do not under any circumstances jump into a pool under a waterfall because this island is made of volcanic discharge. It's extraordinarily stabby. Yeah. And that's what I can tell you about Hawaii.
I jumped off a cliff in Canada where one guy went through his shoes and another guy went through his swim trunks.
Oh,
what?
You got a water enema?
No, like his swim trunks were up to his armpits when he hit the water.
When he hit the water. Yeah.
And I'm like, I would never do that again.
I jumped off Black
It was
Rock.
like everybody was doing it, and
Yeah.
I'm like, and it was like the rock sloped like this, so you really had to just like run out into the middle of nowhere, like just try to make sure you didn't follow the rock down, go out, so you didn't hit anything, and it was like, and God forbid some asshole's in a canoe down there and you land in the fucking canoe.
Oh, fuck that.
But it was I'll never do that again.
So to bring it to motorcycles, I mean, don't get me wrong, that was awesome. I really enjoyed that. When we got here, Steve, our illustrious grumpy sewer guy, started into a tale, but then in about a minute and a half into it, he added an element that made it so fucking good. I said, just stop.
We have
please
to stop.
Stop
we
talking,
have to stop talking
because I want this to be virgin for me and you and everybody else as well.
Absolutely.
So I think start it this time with the thing that you figured out later. So this whole thing starts because you got contacted because you sold the motorcycle a long fucking like 10 years ago.
Like 10 years ago,
Right.
I sold this GL 1000 to this guy named Fred. I don't know what his last name was.
Yeah.
But evidently Fred died and never transferred the title. So the guy who bought these off the estate had this untransferred title from me, and he wanted me to get a duplicate title for him.
Right.
But he offered me, no, I'm not going to drink anymore. Well, you better give me some ice.
Oh, shit.
I love that. I'm not going to drink anymore. Oh, you should give me some ice.
Yeah, at least.
Oh, shit. We're drinking the Woodford. All right.
So he went to my old house,
Nice.
which is next to my new house.
Yeah.
And he pounded on the door, and the guy who owns the new house knows me.
Yeah.
So he calls me, and he said, hey, there's some guy out here who says that you have something about a motorcycle. And so I talked to him, and he said, well, I think I have your old motorcycle, and could you get me a duplicate title?
Okay. Yeah.
Which is, I'm happy to do it.
I'm always happy to do that.
Because, you know what? I hope somebody would do that for me.
Oh, amen, man. Yeah.
So I got the title, and last night I went out to his house, and so he's got this GL 11 or GL 1000.
Yeah.
What I like about it, it's got the crank start. So I mean, it's like a Model A Ford, you know. It's
Look, you and I,
or Model T,
anybody
whatever.
who has ever owned one knows that crank start horse shit.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to do it.
There's no way you're going to do that.
No,
In
but
fact,
it's just kind of cool that it's there.
First you start the bike up and get it really nice and warmed up, and then you get the crank out.
I want anybody, and I'm here for you. Don't get me wrong. I'm here for you. Anybody who goes out and has a does not start situation in their GL 1000. Hug Dugda. Hold on, I have a crank for this. If they open up their fucking toolbox, right? Because you know it's in the gas tank, right? It's a panel. There's a panel, and then behind the panel, there's a crank. No shit. I'm not making this up.
How big is it?
That long.
Okay, so it is sizable.
Yeah, it's like 26 inches.
Yeah.
Right. And so you pull this thing out, and there's a shaft on the side of the engine, and you hook it to it. And it's not like one kick, ha-dugga-dugga, you're done. No. I have, my first GL 1000 I bought had this motherfucking crank in it.
On a 1000?
And I was like, we got to try that.
Is there a compression release or something?
No.
There's no compression release or anything.
I had a motorcycle that...
Do you use your foot to crank it?
I had a motorcycle that would start no problem, like clockwork, all the time, GL 1000, totally reliable. And I thought, this is here. This is part of the bike, what came with the bike. I shall try it.
Because obviously, they didn't give this to you because it doesn't work.
What you should do, if you want to use the crank, is use the crank as a handle to help you push it to get it up to speed to drop it in second gear. That's what you should use the crank for. I have not seen anybody use the optional crank starter assembly on a GL 1000 to any success.
No, it obviously is a one-way thing sticking out, right? Because if it started going, it doesn't continue to crank, right?
No, it's a sprag clutch.
Yeah,
right. But
I figured as much.
it's terrible.
But the compression must be like, fuck.
It's just...
Is there any video anywhere of somebody successfully
I'm
starting
certain
one
of it. I'm absolutely fucking certain of it. And here it is, and here's the image, right? So this comes off. But the problem is, and this was funny because my bike was yellow too.
Which way are you cranking that?
Well, so this goes on, and now you're going to kick it like a BMW at this point. All right? You're going to lay your foot on it. But I got to tell you, if you use the word kick, you've already lost because you are not kicking it. If you kick it, I assure you, you will only end up with bleeding. Right?
You got like heel it or something?
You're stepping on it. You're riding it down. Yeah. Right. You're riding it down. The idea
you're
of
hoping to get a
that's all you're hoping for. You're literally hoping for a hug. Right? To which I say, it's not that heavy of a motorcycle. Put the bitch in second gear and go fuck your head.
Hoof it, yeah.
Right.
I just read an article from one of the Cincinnati guys.
Yeah.
That like the kickstart itself was hated at first. They were like, "Why do I need a kickstart?" This is like in the early 1900s when bikes started having kickstarts. There was like a whole article in like whatever motorcycle.
They like pedal start.
Pedal start.
No, they were
Spin
like
them up.
they just pushed the bikes and started like what? Why?
But they had
add
compression releases too.
As Dustin used to call it, the man starter.
something? Yeah.
He took the electric starter off his CB350.
Yeah.
Why?
And I was like, dude, why did you take the electric? And he like went to a lot of trouble to blanking plate and like make it all pretty. And I was like, why the fuck did you do that? Because I got a man starter. Like Kickstarter would be the man start. We saw him bump start that bike at least 27 times. Yeah. That man starter was not as reliable as the Nippon Denso electric starter that came from the factory. Yeah. So anyway.
All right. So
anyway, I went to the guy's house last night to give him the title and look at the bike, and because he said he'd sell me back the bike for $500, which
inflation
might be okay,
right?
I mean, it might be okay, but I mean, do I really want a GL 1000? I mean, I have so many other bikes anyway, and do I really want this bike? No, it's the guy let it sit outside for how many years, and it's like it's I'd have to redo the carbs and everything else
painted
about
purple.
it.
Was that one
It's painted purple?
It's purple, yeah.
The guy welded 18-inch pipes on the mufflers. 18-inch, like 2-inch pipes on the mufflers so that it sticks out behind the rear wheel, because those mufflers never stuck out behind the rear wheels.
No.
Right.
But now he had bags. Well, there used to be bags. It was those, those like octagon, not octagon bags, but they were like
Vetters. They're kind of like a hexagon.
Yeah, they were kind of cool, but those are gone now.
Yeah.
And so I get to talking to him, and I'm like, well, he said, I got this other GL 1000 in the package deal.
Of course he does.
And it's down in the barn. So his barn's like through this muddy field, and we're walking through there, and he's telling me, yeah, we're going to take this bike. Our plans for these bikes are to cut the frames and stretch them, and then cut the heads off and rake them and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking, seriously? I mean, there's shaft drive, first of all,
right?
And second of all, you're like, and so I go into this rant about how people like cut up these CB350s and like they're just all a bunch of bastards, and like whatever, and you're ruining all these bikes, and now
you're sweet talking them.
Yeah. And then he turns and sees the club name.
You're making him feel real good about himself.
No, but he doesn't care, because that's what he does. I mean, and it's like, but like I said, it's your bike. I don't care what you do to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, seriously, you're gonna really do this to a Honda? I mean, you can do it to a Harley, because that's the way I feel. But so we get to his barn, and next to the other GL 1000 is a really, really nice CB 175. It's a 72. It's got the nice tank. It's got 4,000 miles on it. And I'm like,
the one you could have bought.
The one I could have bought. Well, I tried to buy it. I tried to buy it from the guy, but he, whatever. He was...
Because Marketplace.
Yeah, because Marketplace. But anyway...
So which color is it?
It's blue and white.
Yeah, blue and white. And is it a CL or a CB?
It's a CB.
It's a CB, yeah.
And he just said, well, we just chopped and so I hear this. I hear this as we're walking back. I'm like, I'd like to buy that bike. And he said, well, I have to get you a price for my son. And he says, we just chopped a CL, 175 up. And that thing was a really great running bike. And I'm like, oh my God, why would you destroy Why would you destroy these bikes? They're
Eddie
beautiful.
grabbed the drill. He's like killing the guy in the fucking corner of the garage. Like, die.
Look, man, I'm not going to go out and argue that there's anything super collectible about a CB 175.
No, it's not super collectible, but it's
No
still,
such thing as a rare Honda.
Exactly.
True.
No,
And-
but still, it's just the fact that. What are you gonna? I mean,
Right.
It's a fad. It's
But-
like a mullet. Are you gonna wear your mullet? Till you die when you're 80 years old. Are you gonna be wearing
I think
a
it's
mullet?
actually worse than that. I think it's I think it's pedophilia. I think it's taking advantage of something that's weaker than you. I think that chopping up, making a CB 175 into a chopper, right? That's pedophilia. Because
I like it.
the bike isn't strong enough to resist you. Right? It wasn't asking for that. At no point ever did a Honda CB 175 say, hey, whatever social norms of 1968 or 75 say that you should make me into a chopper. No, we've always reserved that for, big twins and for CB 750s and whatever. The occasional, errant lost KZ got turned into a chopper. Right, but they're big bikes; they can defend themselves. So
I have a beautiful CB 450 chopper waiting for you.
Exactly. Bikes of a certain size, chopper.
I need that guy's name.
A 125 or a 150 or a 175 or a 200, making it into a chopper is just
stupid.
pedophilia.
Yeah, that's
It
stupid.
really is.
That's
It's
true.
just attacking a defenseless thing.
That
It's
guy will
not,
give me 600 even easy for the 6-inch over fucking front end on the fucking
Look, man,
$33 bike.
if you come into my house, if you come into my shop and say, dude, I'm hard. What? I'm a hard motherfucker. Really? You're a hard motherfucker? Yeah. Last week I choked out a fucking tiger. And I'm like, you choked out a tiger? Yeah, I choked out a tiger. You choked out a fucking tiger. I choked out a tiger. You choked out a fucking tiger. Yeah, it was 3 weeks old.
It was 3 weeks.
All right?
Fair point.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it. I don't have a punchline. That's it.
That was it.
That is the punchline.
That's it.
So the
Yeah.
long of short of it is he wanted $1,500 for the 175, which, I mean, it kills me to spend more money.
He's obviously a fucking degen from up north. Offer him fucking $800.
So I offered him $1,200 for the bike because you know what?
You're more generous.
The
than I
point
am.
is that, and I actually told him that
Yeah.
I can't save every bike from being mutilated by
Molested.
people like you guys.
Molested.
But I can save the best examples.
No, not trying to be rude or anything, but I try to save bikes from bastards like
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You know what? At this point,
No offense.
I'm more of it. At this point, I gotta say, I've heard your vision, and I need to intervene.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to lose a certain number of dollars to protect this motorcycle from your fuck-uppedness.
I'm willing to
Just to
spend
keep
my
your
hard-earned-
Peter beaters off of it.
Yeah, exactly. I've looked around your property, sir.
But I mean, why
And
can't
this
you
is
just
the only thing that I can save. Everything else has had your fucking DNA slobbered all over it.
Dick Peters fucked
But
everything
even
up.
the GL 1000,
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
why can't you just take the fairings off, take the big the bar, the
Yeah.
crash bars off, and just do it tastefully?
Right.
I mean, what's the point of raking a GL 1000, and how are you even going to stretch it? Are you going to stretch the frame and then move the whole engine back? And then
I have
just
been
stretch the frame
walking this
forward?
earth a long time,
Hold
and I
my
can
beer.
tell you, hold my beer.
I've got a cutoff wheel and a welder.
Right. I have seen so many poorly made GL 1000 choppers. There's no shortage of super, super fucked up. Look at me, I got a grinder, right? There is no shortage of completely fucked up GL 1000 choppers because a lot of people went, hey, Steve, it's got shaft drive. This will be easy.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to worry about lighting.
Don't have to worry about lining the sprockets up or anything. We can go all kinds of crazy with this fucking thing. It comes ready for a dark side,
Every
and
single one of these disasters has the motor about where it started out.
Yeah, it does. And, there's, Honda GL 1000 Cafe Racers, right? There's all kinds of crazy shit people have built. There's no shortage of people that have had their way with the Boxer 4.
No way in any shape or form, any of those bikes look half as nice as just a naked GL 1000.
Correct. I agree.
I mean, look at the GL. Look at a naked GL 1000. I mean, it's a nice looking bike.
Honda didn't get it wrong. Like, nobody's going to say, and I am partial to I will admit it, because 1975, I am partial to the yellow ones. I don't know why.
It's not naked. It's stock.
It's stock. Thank you. It's
well,
stock.
I mean, back in 75, though, they didn't really have, the Golden was that bike. I mean, it didn't have the fairing and everything else on it, but I mean, this one's got a windjammer, which, you know what? Man, take it off. It'll be fine.
Who aimed that headlight? It's aimed at
that one is, I think that one's good. I think that one's been pushed back into the garage a little too aggressively. That's a real thing in the world. That you can tell that bike hasn't had a lot of miles put on it.
No.
Yeah.
That's a beauty bike.
It is a beauty. And that's one of those machines
it's got the bat signal.
I will always, I will always be I'll always be cool with the 75 GL 1000. And the one that I owned was this exact color yellow with this exact pinstripes, except it had a sidecar, right? And
for a while.
That's it. I owned it for
and
about.
Then I got put back on and sold.
Exactly.
Instantly.
Hey.
How long did you own that bike?
About an hour and a half.
Oh, shit.
I had another one come into the shop years later that was also yellow. And I got to work on it and do a bunch of work and drive it around a little bit. And I was like, I really like this bike a lot. And but the difference was it was about $3,000 more than the one that I had. Nah. Mine had a sidecar.
Wait, and the guy
mind
also
$3,000 will get you the nicest 75 Goldwing, all original.
Absolutely.
Pony up $3,000 and you can have a beautiful bike.
I was very happy with my 75 GL 1000, and I was also very happy to sell it for more than twice than I paid for it while we were standing in the same dealership where I bought it.
Wow.
An hour and a half later.
An hour and a half later.
No.
That's interesting.
Well, I bought a motorcycle that had a sidecar on it, and I didn't want the sidecar. And so I had negotiated a price on the sidecar with a motorcycle without the sidecar. And while I was still on the property, while they were taking the sidecar off, the bike was sitting out there, and this guy came in and he's like, "Oh man, that's a 75 GL 1000." And I was like, "Yeah, it's mine." Like, I hadn't signed the title yet, kind of thing. And I negotiated the sale price of the bike. Made the guy super happy. He's like, "Really? With the sidecar and everything?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah." And so I went in. I was like, I told the guy he's the guy that owns State 8. Now, I told him, I was like, "Hey man, you got to put that sidecar back on." He's like, "What?" I said, "I sold the bike." He's like, "The bike you just bought?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just sold the bike I just bought." Stop the paperwork.
Yeah.
I just sold the bike I just bought, but the sidecar has to go back on it. So he told his mechanics to hurry up and get the sidecar off.
And now you had to put it back on.
And the hilarious thing was the guy saw the bike with no sidecar while they were in the shop working on my paperwork. And he's like, "Oh, I always wanted one of those with a sidecar." And I was like, "Well, I happen to know where there's a sidecar."
Oh, boy.
Because I was like, I don't want the sidecar. So
that's awesome.
I was a young fella. I didn't want a sidecar.
Right.
Yeah. So it was great. And I got to turn my money. I over doubled my money.
Jeez.
Yeah. And it was just, if you have a yellow GL 1000, an old man will come up to you. And
so what did you
things.
get with the doubled money?
Well, I ended up buying a Honda 1988 Honda Super Magna. So I had gone from a bike that I'd went in to buy for $1,200 without a sidecar. And I sold the bike that I bought for $1,200 for $3,000 with a sidecar. And then I bought the Super Magna, which at the time was only 4 years old, or 3 years old. So I bought that for $3,200.
Weird, detailed question.
Yeah.
Are those pipes stock? Did they have
black
those
are
pipes
stock. Black pipes,
thing?
black pipes with chrome covers.
Yeah, but see the ends, see the chrome
whistlers.
tips on the back?
The whistlers.
Yeah, so he cut those off and put 18-inch pipes sticking out the back.
Yeah, the whistles. He cut the whistles off. Oh man, you could take the whistles off of a Volkswagen Beetle, and put them on there because these would always rot out.
Yeah.
So you could put those on. It was very effective. Extremely effective.
I took pipe fittings.
Or what that little.
I have a free bike waiting for me. My brother acquired a Suzuki Intruder 800. Really nice shape. It's like a 95.
Yeah.
And he's like, next time you come down, bring the trailer. So,
Really?
so I think I get that.
Yeah. You know, it's going to suffer from all the Volusia problems because it is, you know. It's carbureted.
Yeah.
And that you'll have that.
Well, I keep telling him, like, I can come down, I can clean the carburetors, and we can try to get it running, and you could ride it.
Yep.
He's like,
You'll be able to move it along. If it's an actual Intruder, which I'm sure it is.
It's
right?
black or
black,
dark. Well, it's like a metallic flake to it or something. 95, 96.
95, yeah.
Was there any mail?
Wait.
Was there any mail about what's his face?
Can we name it the Janus Intruder?
You can name it whatever you want. I mean,
Janus.
it's just,
The Janus.
Janus. I'm going to read you guys some real quick email. Real quick.
Shit.
Real quickie, just quick. I didn't have a lot of time to put a lot
also,
of
there
email
was
together.
some motorcycle riding going on last week.
Oh, yeah.
We went out on the ice.
I couldn't believe that, guys.
What?
Like, cold snap of the century. Negative, how many degrees?
32.
Negative
Damn.
32 degrees. Not
chill.
Celsius, by the way.
No.
No.
It was negative 12, and then with wind chill it was negative 32.
Right.
Okay. All
But
right.
like that wind is what caused that condensation. That pond froze 6 inches deep in 2 days.
And was it smooth? Was it a good surface?
Oh, it was
Dude,
perfect.
perfect.
It was perfect.
We were literally going
man.
like. I have bruises to prove it.
Yeah.
We literally started to get to slide the back tire. Like it was like
On the spikes.
Yeah, it was getting gnarly. It was really cool.
No snow on it. I mean, we spent the whole day riding a snow machine.
Yeah.
And then just sort of as the last thing, it was like, well, let's go down and check out the pond.
I didn't think. I was like, it's only been cold for 3 days. Maybe it has like
Maybe.
a skim coat.
Yeah.
So, you know, John, he puts his toe, and he puts a thing, and so John was the first one to go out, and I'm like, I think we're good.
Oh, shit, really?
I'm jumping up. We were curling with a brick. Because my
Wow.
and they had the broom and everything.
So it froze that fast.
It was better than it's ever been.
Ever. Shit. And I learned how to make a Zamboni out of a cooler. And you don't even destroy the cooler. Boiling water in it, you pop the cork, let it hit a mop, and you drag it back and forth, and it completely...
It glasses it.
Yeah.
Good job.
So I'm going to work on trying to get a four-wheeler,
Yeah.
and then we just drag that thing.
Bigger mop. All right. So
But
thing.
the spikes were great because there was no snow, and you were right on hard ice. Those spikes are fantastic.
That's what they're built for. I mean, that's the whole
insane.
thing.
It's like having slicks. It's
Amazing.
It's, I mean,
not
amazing.
slicks. I mean, well, slicks
but
on
it's
pavement.
on
pavement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the grip. It's the grip of slicks.
It's insane.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, good times.
Oh,
cool.
Man. I'm not saying I was envious.
You do. I mean, I can't believe you were in Hawaii when this was happening.
I know.
mean,
I was going to say, fuck you.
you
man.
really missed out.
Yeah, I ate more seafood. You have no idea. I
To me, all food is seafood.
yeah.
I see it. I eat it.
Okay, so anyway, one of our listeners says, remember we talked about the dog shit brown Tourmaster suit? That was cheap.
Yeah.
That they were doing Tourmaster doing a special deal.
Yeah.
One of our listeners got one.
Oh shit! How is it?
He says, I got the dog shit brown Tourmaster suit.
I love this. guy.
Awesome, except the legs are way too long. Whatever, looks stupid and it's comfortable. 3 stars.
Nice.
Did he ever think that maybe his legs are just really short?
I don't bring that shit up.
Okay.
I don't judge. I'm 6'1". I got 34-inch inseam. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
Well, it's better to have them longer than shorter.
it is. Yeah, right.
I mean,
oh yeah,
roll 'em
trust
up.
me.
Yeah, roll them up.
Oh,
Fuck it.
oh,
Yeah.
That's 100% right there.
Yeah.
I have no problem when people are like, oh, you know, the thing was a little long for me. It was a little big for me. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good. Trust me. Because every time I've ever rented a wetsuit
Oh shit. Yeah.
and it was like a weasel squeezer,
Yeah.
I'm like, you want no part of that shit. Trust me.
Nope.
Man,
John, have you ever rented a piece of gear anywhere that was like, this is good?
Well, I really haven't rented any gear.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even try. Like, it's like, rent a helmet, good luck. You
No
know, like,
fucking way,
they're
man.
not going to have my size.
Yeah, I just
Spiral bends.
so one of
Maybe.
our podcast listeners always sent us this. I think we can play it because it's not on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and launch it. Do you guys see the screen? All right, good. So this is in India. You know where India is?
Yes.
India. All right, I'm going to play it. So this is a custom bike that was built in India. And so when we talk about the Honda Navi. We talk about the Royal Enfield. We talk about various motorcycles that come out of India. I'm going to show you what Indian performance tuning looks like.
Oh, yeah, I've seen this.
You have seen this?
Yeah.
All right. So
Amazingly good.
Yeah. So this fella here has done some custom modification to his
Very excited.
350cc motorcycle. Yeah. Yeah. You see what's going on there, buddies? He's got not one, but 2 rear tires. He's got 2 rear tires.
And they look like they're like really, really balanced and perfectly put together.
Well, do you know what I happened to notice after watching this video 3 times? They are conjoined.
Yeah.
They are not independent of each other.
Oh, no.
So the left one doesn't stay on the ground when the right one's making a turn. They are just... He's got a monster jack shaft going in there. He's pointing out how he has upside down forks like a Ducati, right? This to me is the example of when anyone says like high-tech Indian engineering. It's literally when you take 2 swing arms and literally weld them together with a chain drive on the outside. This was several sticks of welding rod, but not a whole lot of engineering.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I saw this video like a week or 2 ago.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one video of it driving.
Yeah.
It's a Royal Enfield Thunderbird. You know, it's 350cc. And 2 rear tires, 2 rear wheels. So if you look at that swing arm assembly down the middle, it's not on a pivot. It's not 2 separate swing arms.
Wheels,
yeah, I'm with
They
you on
don't
that
even
a
seem
little
like the right size.
They don't seem
they
like
don't-
the right size. Exactly.
Yeah, they don't even seem like they're the same.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I was trying to figure out whether that was an optical illusion or what. But even if those 2 swing arms are swinging independently of each other, only the right wheel is doing the driving.
Yeah, right.
You get that?
Yeah.
Right? So if they're doing this, then only the right wheel is doing the driving. If they're
you're
doing
coasting.
this...
If you go left, you coast.
Exactly. Thank
You
you.
can only go around the island to the right.
Yeah.
You mentioned a Navi
Yeah.
on the Edge Honda.
On the edge Honda.
And another to not be mentioned Honda dealer very close to here.
Yes, we all
have
know.
one in stock.
One.
Ooh.
$1,800.
Seems like MSRP.
That's right, and they on the Edge, like I said, they are honest and great people, and
Yeah.
I buy all.
So
my,
do you think
all
they'll
my
sell it
Hondas
to me
from
for
them.
$1,800?
I think they probably. You might add the shipping and whatever, but or the.
You mean like the destination charge that Honda charges of $600 per bike?
That's what I would think,
Right.
but
And probably the $800 freight too.
Well, I'm not sure, but
Okay.
I saw it on their site as $1,800, and normally when I buy a bike from them, they can, they don't charge me a bunch of stuff, added.
I get it.
Added stuff.
I absolutely get it.
Not that I'd want a Navi.
Phil doesn't charge you a bunch of stuff either.
No, and Phil doesn't either. So
So in the, I'm not going to put this on the thing so podcast
I was just
listeners
saying
can
it's
see it.
I love it.
Yeah, we're not going to show this to the podcast listeners.
That's seafood, too.
All
What's
right.
thrown on sticky?
Clam and biscuits.
Is
Who's this from?
Is that my good friend Matt Davidson?
That is not Matt Davidson. I'm glad you asked. New guy.
Now, if it was actually her sending it to us, that
Oh, yeah.
Look, I'm
She's not
just
sending
gonna
it
say.
to you.
Right.
Keep scrolling.
Send
Keep
it to
scrolling.
Oscar.
So,
keep scrolling.
so
Clam skipping.
So here's wow. I'll make sure that's not going out on the big screen. All right. So wow. So again, the rules
Merry
are
Christmas
simple.
to you
It's
too.
ClevelandMoto at
Merry
ClevelandMoto at
Christmas to you,
gmail.com. ClevelandMoto@gmail.com. If you want to send us.
Please do.
My wife was really upset. My wife found those printed out, those photographic prints.
Yeah, I remember.
Remember those?
Look, we don't care if it's your wife, your girlfriend,
Look,
your grandma, or your niece.
They were under my little
Measuring
They were on my self-healing cutting mat. They were They were under my self-healing cutting mat. And I was moving stuff around for Merritt. She was in here, and I moved the printer around for her. And she found, those 2 4x6 printed out photo. Nobody uses photo paper
Pictures of
anymore.
your stepsister.
Yeah, right. And so these 2 pictures pop out that some podcast listener lovingly sent us to prove that he was worthy of getting a shout out. And my wife my wife did one of those full-on, straight-up Velociraptor moves where she's just like, and I was like, "What the fuck was that?" And she goes, "Does that woman know that you have pictures of her naked?"
Consent.
Yeah.
And I went,
Not my circus monkeys, man.
"No."
But that woman knows that pictures were taken of her naked.
And I said, I don't care if that woman knows that I have pictures of her naked.
I don't even know who she is.
I don't know who the fuck she is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I have like all the best defense in the world of saying, I don't even know her name.
The internet is full of them.
Right. The internet's full of naked pictures.
we don't know about
and
this.
she's like,
Someone printed.
if you don't know
Oh, boy.
that woman
Oh, no.
didn't approve those pictures being taken and being distributed to your bunch of dipshits podcast. She didn't say that.
Well, that looks like artwork to me.
Yeah.
Yes. I like the other one, too.
And in both, she looks happy.
She looks consenty.
She smiles all around. Sorry, Josh.
Go back to the first one. I think she's the one taking it. The first
Oh,
one.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
But that also, and so this also, that's totally a selfie.
Oh, yeah.
That's totally a selfie. My point
yeah.
being that until you can prove me otherwise, these are all just harvested off the internet.
Yeah.
And it's been so long the statute of limitations has run out on any of this shit.
You know
so
what?
nobody's going to jail.
Here's another thing you can say now.
My only question is, as long as she's 18, it's all
No.
What kind of bike does she ride?
No, wait.
That's what I want to know.
I'm sorry, officer. She smelled consenty.
No. Yeah, it's a good word, right? No, here's the new one.
Wait. I could smell her consent.
Wow.
Whoa!
Full clap, dude.
Fucking genius. Wow.
You're a wordsmith.
Yeah. Wow.
Shit!
Genius. Wow. Oh, man. Wow.
Can you spell that, Mr. McElfresh?
If I turn one way, I can hear this
I
thing.
think we hit a new level right there.
Wow. Yeah.
I think we just
If I turn the other way, I can smell her consent.
two more. There's no more hell to go to.
I will never, ever be able to write the word consent ever again. I will never be able to hear the word consent ever again.
We're on the model away.
Just saying the word consent right now is causing me a little bit of stress.
You're going to start giggling with it.
Bum, 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 bum.